Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Lucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin Buchanan.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Do you realize everybody knows who you are right now?
I think we're coming into this year with a new confidence.
Schools are like, we're freaking Texas A&M, man. Like,
that's about as pretty a throw-catch combo as there is.
I saw the safety roll, the slot fade. I knew where I needed to put the ball.
You had no other option but one hand at that point.
Yeah, man, 50-50 ball, I got to come down with it.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Trying to finish up that post on TexAgs.com to tell everybody what's going to be on the radio show that we tweeted out 14 minutes ago, so I don't get that one little post that people get mad about, or one guy gets mad about. Welcome in, everybody. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We've got DJ OB in the house, spinning the ones and twos. What's up, dog? Yo.
Yo.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm ready for the day. I got up early, did my workout. Decided to get a haircut later today, my trim, straight, cleaning it up. But so I didn't want to put any product in my hair since it's going to get it cut.
You don't get the little wash?
No.
No.
So I'm too cheap for that.
Me too.
I already washed my hair already. Right. But I didn't want to get the Uncle Rico look and let all these ingrates out there, and you know who you are, come at me and making fun of me.
You mean everybody who works at TexAgs?
I'm talking about the guys out there who are watching and listening. iDoc Mike, Derm Doc, all those people.
iDoc Mike has never said a mean thing about a person in his life.
You're right, but all you know who you are. I just wanted to mention iDoc Mike.
Okay, that's our guy.
Dr. Silvertooth, all those people out there
Sutton,
who like to make fun of me. I wasn't going to give you that pleasure.
Right.
Of making fun of me when you said I looked like Uncle Rico.
So for those listening on the Zone, you have a little Lucci look to you today. Those listening on the Zone.
Well, I think it's more of a Broniger thing.
OB's got a hat on, and I walked in. I was like, I've never seen you in a hat, bro. And I did bro you. It looks good. It's a quality look.
And I'm wearing it backwards, which is the way the wife likes it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because, she wants to see more of my face because she can't get enough of it.
Humor me for a moment. Do the Jay-Z look. Just kind of move it to the side a tad.
What is the Jay-Z
Just
look?
a little bit like, it's kind of up high and to the left. Just try it. Let's see how it looks. No. You talk for a second.
Okay, I have Jay-Z. Yeah, I don't think that works. I look like
Hove.
I look like a chef.
Olin, turn your head to the side so the camera can see the note the other way.
I'd actually like to fix it a little bit better than that, but I didn't do my best. Hear me out.
Or it looks like I'm wearing a pompadour.
Oh my gosh! Can we?
Now I'm Uncle Rico. This is great radio. Everything that no one can see.
Hi to the friends on CW and YouTube and TexAgs.com. All right, let's get to business, buddy.
Let's do.
It is Coffee Talk, presented by TexAgs Coffee, by the way. Beat the hell out of morning by going to TexAgs.com/coffee. Great coffee. Drinking it right now. All right, OB. Let's talk about coaching changes. Robert Petrino, gone. Arkansas's the destination,
Bring
right?
him back. He served his penance. Why not?
Damian Craig.
He's gone.
Adios.
Probably on his way back to Auburn.
And Steve Adazio.
Okay. Adazio's had success other places.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have it here. It's best to move on.
Yeah.
So I don't know if.
Am I right about Adazio? Is that
it's been on our boards.
Yeah.
I know that, and typically they know things. It was on our boards was where they found out about the.
I don't want to speak
cheating.
for Billy. But I think he would not be surprised if a lot of this staff is not retained. I think that's how he phrased it.
Yeah.
But I think Craig and Petrino are for sure confirmed to be moving on. And as you mentioned, I think for a while, actually for about a month, I've been hearing Damian Craig's name associated with the Auburn job for a bit. So,
So you don't wish anything, at least I don't wish any ill will on anybody unless they're playing the Aggies. So good luck. But I think in those instances, it's probably the right call. It's best for A&M. Even though, now I wonder, was Bobby Petrino told, I mean, we don't know this, right? Was Bobby Petrino told, hey, we don't want you anymore, and so then Arkansas got in touch, or did Arkansas get in touch first, you know, because they need an offensive coordinator?
I would assume that most coaches, when there's a coaching change, if they have agents, if they have friends around the industry, they're making calls because, like, you just don't know. I remember you went through it at Rivals, right? Like, when there's a change in leadership, your future, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's true.
At 13, when they changed GMs, I was like, I hope this works out well for me. And they ended up hiring somebody that I had a great relationship with. But, like, you don't know because people want their own folks in there.
Right. So I think it's interesting that Petrino, you know, was hired this quickly at Arkansas, and he's going back to Arkansas, and they need an offensive coordinator, so it makes sense, even though there are those that would say, well, he shouldn't be able to go back to Arkansas because of what happened when he was there. It was a decade ago. You know, people make mistakes. They move on. So I don't have an issue with that.
You know what's interesting about that? The world, the social media world, whatever, they pick and choose who's allowed to be okay again. Mike Tyson did a lot of bad stuff. He's beloved now, right? Michael Vick did some stuff. I don't know if beloved's the right word for him, but he's, and I'm, by the way,
depending on where he was.
Yeah, and I have no problem with Michael Vick, by the way. I'm not, or Mike Tyson. They would take me.
But yeah, your point's well taken. You know, somebody can kill somebody and do their time and get out, and they say, okay, he give him another chance and all those things, start over. But, you know, you make a big mistake and kind of abuse the system, but you paid it. You lost your job, then you went through the steps and you rebuilt your career. Okay. You know, I would think that penance has been paid. So I think Bobby Petrino, I believe Bobby Petrino would have made a huge difference in A&M's offense
100%.
had he been allowed to do so. So I wish Bobby Petrino success, except against the Aggies. Or if he's in a game that would indirectly affect the Aggies.
100% agree with that. If he ever writes a tell-all book, right? Like, hey, this is what happened at Arkansas, this is what happened at my other stops, and this is what happened at A&M. I would love to hear, like, because I'm sure when he took the job, he had to know it wasn't going to be completely his offense, right? You would think? Like, hey, we'll work together.
If he didn't know, it became clear pretty quick.
Yeah. And by the way, and this was a better offense than last year.
It was.
There were some wrinkles. I just don't feel like it was completely his.
Oh, I don't think it was even close.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I would have liked to have seen what this offense would have been if it would have been, hey, Bobby, it's your offense. You run it. I might tell you in the headset, look, I want to slow it down a little bit here, or let's push. Or I might say it's time to, you know, let's work clock. But other than that, you run the show. And I really wonder what would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think that happened.
Now it's super crucial time to get your staff in here. Because, you know, bowl practices, when does that begin?
I think bowl practice is secondary. I think it's all about recruiting.
It is 100% about recruiting. But you want somebody, you know, implementing, I think they got guys on staff still. So, but you definitely want to get, I know that Elko, Bronny will talk about it later on, has already started reaching out to a bunch of the recruits, and you need to keep as many as you can.
Should.
Yeah.
And
you need to get your guys,
might get
too.
some guys back.
Yeah.
I mean, there are those. I bet you there are some, especially offensively, that said, "I don't want to be part of this." And maybe they'll hear from Elko and he can say, "Look, hold on, let me tell you how it's going to be," and maybe he can be able to sell it.
Right.
I know this, and Elko may be. A lot of people may think I'm crazy, but if I was Elko, after my calls to all my guys on my team and the guys that are already committed, I'd be calling up that Lagway kid and doing everything
Yep.
I could to flip him because, again, I need a quarterback who can run and throw. I think that's being shown how obvious that is over and over, right?
Yeah, and yes, Adagio for sure. I'm rereading Billy's post. It does have his name relieved of all his duties. About DJ Lagway, you got a couple quarterbacks already committed to this squad. So as long as those guys don't waver, I don't know if you add a third.
I would,
because of the kind of talent he is.
Yeah. And here's the thing: if you added a third, and they won't, okay, get me understand they won't. But if you did, and somebody said, whoa, I'm not for this. There's too many quarterbacks at this position. I'm like, man, if you don't want to compete at the most crucial position, that tells me something.
Yeah. There was a lot of social media storm with that WFAA reporter.
So what? You know, it's another. I wonder what his background is, but it's because it's another example. No offense, of a talking head buffoon that really doesn't know anything. Because you could say, why do they think they should be an elite program? Why do they think that? Well, let me tell you, dipstick. Yes, they're not, but here's why. Because of your proximity to Houston and Dallas and all the talent in Texas. Because of your investment that you've made in infrastructure, stadium, everything that's going on. Because of your fan base. Because of your ability to raise money for NIL. Because of all the factors that are needed to be an elite program is there. What you lack is the coach. And if you can't see that, then you're too stupid to be in sports media.
Well said. There was a moment I was like, I need to get this dude on.
It's like saying, oh, Clemson. Why would Clemson ever have thought, there's no place more remote than Clemson. Why would Clemson, before Dabo, ever think that they could be an elite program? Because you're too stupid to see the potential in something?
I wanted to put him on, and then I was like, I don't want another SEC Mike moment, right? And I know people liked it, but I didn't want that. And I also don't want to give this dude any more shine.
He works for
WFAA.
Is he their main guy?
I don't think he is. He might be. I don't think he is. Maybe he is now.
Because
I don't know.
I haven't paid attention to WFAA since Dale Hansen.
Yeah.
And
by the way, Dale Hansen, when he had those rants, if you agree or disagree, they were well thought out. Like, I don't think this one was well thought out.
Because does he know college football? You know, because a lot of times, and I get it, A&M's not elite. We'll acknowledge that. It looked like they were on the path in 2020.
Yeah.
What I laugh about them is, but that was a pandemic year. So Alabama's championship
doesn't count.
We take it away.
Yeah, we took away LeBron's Lakers championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so
we took
stupid.
away a lot of things.
It's like, and you know what frustrates me? Media is supposed to be the guys that are the level-headed opinions.
Right.
Apparently
Joe Trahan, and I know Joe. Joe's good. He's the sports director at WFA.
See, I haven't.
If you saw him, you'd be like, I know that dude. He's good. And look, I think we just live in a world where I'm going to try to say something outrageous and see and love. And some people are built for that life. Like Clay Travis, who I don't think just says things to say things, but when he says things, he captures the heat.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
I'll fight right back with you.
Yeah,
I don't think Leslie was all about that life.
I like it. I kind of like to be a pot stirrer myself.
Yeah.
But I'm going to base it on things that are actual factual that I can back up, and to say that, well, you have no reason to say you can be elite is just stupid. Because why do you think coaches want to come here? It's because of they haven't done it yet because your coach just let you down. But the infrastructure is here. The recruiting base is here. Everything is here. That's why it's always been one of the biggest mysteries in college.
Stay in your lane, OB. You're not allowed to go national.
I drive everywhere I want to go. Nobody can tell me what lane to get in. I'll run over your ass.
Ross Bjork likes that.
If you tell me what lane to get into, I'll run you off the road, punk.
Wow. That was actually pretty
convincing. That's very Nuño of me, isn't it?
Yeah. What I was going to say, I don't stir the pot because I'm too sensitive. Because then I will probably when the people come, I'm like, all right, investigation time. Let's find out every little asset I can about this person.
I always say, if you can't, and this is not a shot at you, but it's just my own philosophy. If you can't take the criticism and the craziness, then don't be in this business anyway. But so Leslie, if you're
don't be in the business.
Don't be in the business. And everybody up in Dallas, all you Aggies in Dallas, watch Channel 4 or Channel 5. Don't watch Channel 8. If it's still the channels, those were the channel. Because if Mike Leslie works for
WFAA Channel 8.
That's Channel 8. Yeah. So
they're good. I mean,
no,
It's like if I say something stupid, I don't want people to boycott TexAgs.
Boycott.
Because I say something stupid every day. That's what you're supposed to say. No, David, you don't. You're actually very influential.
I'm trying to think of something that you said
Trust
stupid.
me. I don't speak English. Hey, let's go around the room and say hello. If you want to be part of the conversation, 979-693-1150. We'll pick it up if you call on the Brian Foley Law hotline. Also, you can text that number, 979-693-1150. OB, think of a number. Let's give away free coffee for TexAgs Coffee.
Number 4, because for the 4 years that Mike Elko was here before and the amount of games that under him that A&M will improve on and wins at least the minimum number of games of wins A&M will improve on next year.
That I didn't understand for a while. But
I'm trying to say they're going to win at least
4.
11.
They're going to win 4 more wins. Not 4 wins, but
at
4
least,
more.
At least 4 more wins.
11 wins next year?
At least. Why not?
Oh, I love OB. DJ Jazzy OB.
If you can't be optimistic now, when can you?
Good point. Let's go say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy,
Sorry,
good morning,
hold
y'all.
on. Good morning, pal.
It's okay. That buddy was acceptable. I liked your tone. But anyways, David, could you imagine getting into a road rage incident and you turn around and it's OB?
Oh, I've had to calm down. I've had road rage incidents in my past.
Like where we almost got out of the car and threw down?
I did get out of the car.
What?
Oh boy.
I'll tell you that. No, it was in Dallas. I'll tell you the story off air.
Okay. All right. Don't want to mess with OB if he gets mad.
Yeah. That's
he's there's a thing called man strength. You can
old man strength.
There's old man strength, and OB's got that.
More than that, I had a tire tool.
Hey, now
boy.
Now I remember you look like over the top.
The kid.
I was gonna say something.
I would like to look like what was it? Bull Rayleigh.
Yeah, that
was the bad
big guy. Yeah,
it kind of looks like Broniger.
Yeah. Bull Rayleigh Broniger. What else, Nicholas?
Oh, nothing. Just other than the college football playoff rankings coming out. I know these are the most. Well, I guess it gives us an idea of what the committee's thinking. But top 4: Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, and I got them out of order, I think. But the 5 through 10 is really what's interesting because Texas and Alabama haven't moved in a couple of weeks. Oregon and Ohio State are kind of hanging out. So it's just going to be interesting to see how these championship games play off and what a chaos scenario look like.
Nick, respectfully, it gives you no idea what they're thinking because what they will do, and they've done this before, is they will rank it however it looks correct, and then on the last one, they have shown a tendency to, let's do what we really want,
right.
and ask any fan of TCU and Baylor if that's true.
I'm just curious what's going to happen if either Georgia or Michigan lose. By the way, Michigan's not losing. Georgia, I doubt they lose, but that's a big
I think
game.
that's the real interest, the intrigue. If Georgia was to lose, what do you do with Georgia?
What do you do with Bama?
Well, if they're the SEC champs, they're going to go in over
Texas?
Georgia. If they're the SEC champs, they will.
You think?
Yeah, I think an SEC champion is going to
lost to
Yeah, but
Texas.
then I was thinking about that. Then you start looking at it as a 3-way tie, even though Georgia and you're saying, yeah, they lost to Texas, but they beat Georgia, and you're the SEC champion. I guarantee you they're not going to leave out the SEC champion. So then what happens to Georgia?
Well, if Florida State loses,
which is
possible,
and that's what a whole lot of teams are hoping for.
Right. If Florida State loses, either Texas or Oregon, I think, get in.
Well, what happens if Florida State loses and Washington loses to Oregon by another close game? And Washington is sitting there at 11-1, and their only loss was to the team that's probably going to be ranked third. And they have a win over a team that's ranked third.
But they lost late, and that seems to hurt.
You know what? It didn't hurt.
Was it Georgia a couple years ago?
TCU last year.
That's right. That's right. Good point, OB. Hey, can we check out the Angry Elephant
Let's do
News
that.
and Social Center?
Let's do that.
Kennedy Cavon.
Come on.
¿Cómo estás?
Hey, sorry, I have a little bit of allergies going on.
You didn't have to say it. We know.
So.
We can tell.
Oh, okay. I just want to. Ooh, David.
That eye roll was fantastic.
Yeah, you're looking a little peaked.
I don't know what that means.
A little what?
Peaked.
I'm not even going to ask what that means. Okay, so moving on, besides football, we've got some basketball and volleyball going on the rest of this week.
Baloncesto.
Oops.
We got the ACC SEC Challenge starting tonight for men's basketball against Virginia, and they're tipping off at 6:15 p.m.
A slow team versus a strong team, OB.
It's going to be a slow game.
Yeah.
Don't expect. Take the under, whatever it is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then one I'm personally excited for, we've got A&M volleyball in the NCAA tournament against number 5 Texas tomorrow.
I would think you look like you're excited about the basketball game tonight.
I'm also excited about the basketball game.
She's got a Boots Radford shirt on.
I'm wearing my Tyrese Radford shirt. I don't know if Kay wore her Wade shirt or not, but we have matching
See,
ones.
I don't know why they haven't marketed some boots.
Yeah. You know, Billy's got friends in the Lucchese company. Maybe we can.
Billy has friends everywhere.
That's true.
Billy's so connected. He must be in the mafia.
Well,
and his name's Lucci.
I'm just saying.
The Don.
Cavs, anything else?
Don Lucci.
There was one really funny chat on the YouTube.
Tell me more.
About Olin that I would like to read out.
Okay.
So you're going to make fun of me. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just reading it. Matt Tackle is making fun of you.
Matt Tackle.
Great listener.
Yes.
Super nice.
Matt Tackle says, Obi looks like the old dude at the gym with tall socks and long shorts trying to get in a pickup game at a 24-hour fitness with that hat
fair.
on.
That's fair.
What, is this guy's been following me?
It does look like
wait.
You
Okay,
have the
just
profile.
for the record, I have short socks. I have short socks.
Man ankles.
Somehow those are worse. Somehow the ankles white socks are worse.
Oh man. What kind of shoes?
I got I don't know, some that Irma bought me.
Yeah, they're nice. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. Can I tell the people what we got going on the show today?
Tell them.
Because I'm actually really excited about the entire show. All right, Ross Bjork in studio, 9 o'clock. We'll have him for a half hour, and we will try to talk about everything. We'll go deeper than we did at the press conference on the coaching search and how we ended up there. Tom Schuberth going to give us an update on the ACC Challenge there, SEC ACC Challenge, A&M versus Virginia. We'll talk to Tom a little bit later. Right after that, my interview with Leon O'Neal. So he got busy yesterday, so we recorded it after the show. We're going to run it today, and he was fantastic.
Of course.
Like, literally, without trying, everything he says is a soundbite.
Yeah,
Everything.
It's true.
He's fantastic.
He is.
So that is Leon O'Neal at around 9:45-ish. Also, Ryan Broniger, a lot to talk about recruiting, and some questions we won't be able to answer because we just don't know with the new staff, but we'll talk to Bronny. Aaron Murray, SEC Network, ESPN will join us at 10:35, and the great Coach Pat Henry will be with us at 10:47. So, busy show, Olin.
It sounds like a good one. And I look forward to hearing what Leon had to say.
Trust me, it is like, it's one of those I'm like, man, that we need to be on repeat.
Leon was very frustrating, but he was one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Because Leon made plays, and Leon played with passion, and Leon played for Texas A&M. Like what Alan Waddell says in the old soundbite, play for that name on the front of your jersey and not the back.
Of your
that
jersey.
was Leon O'Neal.
And he basically doesn't say those words, but basically says those words throughout the interview. It's fantastic. You'll love it. All right, we've gone 24 minutes.
Gosh.
Right now, Louis is like, you're 7 minutes late for a break.
Oh, 7 minutes.
7, almost 8. And speaking of 8, I don't know.
I wish I had
an 8. 8 something.
I wish I had 8. I remember the last time I ate at Fargo's.
Was it with me?
Yes, it was. Okay. And I enjoyed it immensely.
It was good. You know what? I owe you
I ate
another
too
trip.
much.
Yeah,
I ate too much that day.
I mean, this is the only indictment I have on Fargo's. You get too full. Because it's so good, and you like, okay, I'll have more. Right? That's what happens.
Yeah, well, and of course we had an advantage because Belinda brought everything out there.
But
Belinda
I was already
and
full
Alan.
before
right.
that.
That's what my point is. And I ate and ate and ate until I couldn't eat anymore. And if I was at Fargo's today.
You don't know what they have. There's no way. You've not memorized their menu. No
well,
chance.
Today I'd have a chopped beef sandwich.
Okay, that's good.
Because
on a baked potato?
Well, I would have the sandwich, but I was going to say, if I wanted to, though, I could put that chopped beef on a baked potato.
Qué rico.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about beef ribs? Are you a fan of those?
I do like beef ribs.
Yeah.
I love beef ribs.
I do too.
I love that whole cow, I think.
Yeah, I'm a big cow guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a cowboy.
And I like it at Fargo's. I like the way they cook that cow.
You know I'm an Aggie cowboy, right?
Yeah, I could have. You're a vaquero?
An Aggie cowboy.
Okay.
Yeah. There's going to be 9 people who understand what I'm talking about. 1701, actually more than that. 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. My fraternity, Beta Theta Pi, they're the Aggie Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
It's been like 30 years since I've been there, but hey, guys. 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, the
best barbecue in Texas, which makes it the best barbecue in the galaxy.
I like the way you brought in Star Wars into that. By the way, that's their trademark.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, it's Fargo's. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon never looks so good with Maroon U. Let's talk a little college football. That's what we do on this show. But let's get into some of the games this weekend. They're championship games, OB.
Yeah, they are. And I think all the big Power 5 ones are interesting. You know, of course, we talked a little bit about Alabama and Georgia and what that could mean. I think both teams were looking ahead to that game last week, right? Georgia
Tech,
didn't look that great against Georgia Tech, but what we've seen is all year Georgia looks vulnerable until they have to play.
And then they play.
And then they play. And then Alabama looks like they're going to lose to Auburn until Auburn gave it away. So I don't think there's any doubt that Auburn is not nearly as good as Alabama. But, you know, rivalry game, and again, you're looking ahead to next. I think it's going to be a great game. You know, Georgia's won 29 straight games.
Yeah.
Last team to beat them?
Alabama. In the championship game. No, the SEC championship game.
SEC championship game, I believe.
Yeah. My question about the Bama-Auburn game, do you think that 4th and 31 is one of those moments we're always going to remember? Like, you know, does it have
I think
pick six vibes to it?
Depending on where it goes from here.
Yeah.
If Georgia wins, so what? You know, because if Georgia wins, they'll remember it from Alabama and Auburn always, but for it to be a kick six moment, you gotta do something, because you say, and maybe not even then, because they were going to be in this game anyway,
right?
But it was certainly amazing.
Next game,
Oregon and Washington.
Super
Last
intriguing.
time they played, Washington won by 3 when Oregon missed a 43-yard field goal at the end on the last play to try to. And you'll recall that Dan Lanning, the Oregon coach, opted to go for it on 4th down at midfield, and they didn't make it, like with less than 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
And that set up Washington with a short field to score the touchdown that gave him the lead. So I'm sure he's learned from that. Oregon's been playing good football lately.
They have.
Washington's been struggling a little bit. They've been winning but struggling. So, that's – and could both teams get into the playoff?
I mean, I'm sure there's a way, but I don't see it.
Again, if Oregon wins, they have a win over the number 3 team in the country, and their only losses to the number 3 team in the country. If Washington wins, of course, they were in without a doubt.
No doubt. All right, next one is intriguing because I'm kind of rooting for Florida State because of the whole quarterback situation, but I don't think they can do anything. So there's that part as well.
Oh, I think everybody wants Florida State to win. If you're Georgia or Michigan, you want Florida State to win because you feel like you've got an easier.
There's an easier.
If you're the number 1 seed, an easier matchup. Look, Florida State, with the backup quarterback, and that gives you pause. What are they going to do with Tate? Is it Rodemaker?
Yeah,
at quarterback.
Rodemaker,
but if he's not, look, the kid, if he wasn't capable, he wouldn't be at Florida State to begin with. And boy, they have good defense and good receivers. So, but Louisville's no slouch. So,
they are no slouch.
So that'll be interesting. How about Michigan
blowout?
And Iowa? Define blowout.
Well, I think you once told me double digits.
Okay, then it's a blowout. Iowa can't score.
Yeah.
And they can't score against average to bad defenses. So what makes you think they're going to score against a defense that's better than theirs statistically? So, I could see Michigan winning this one something like 31-7. Maybe not 30, but 27-7, 24-7.
Yeah. I can see that, absolutely. And then the last game,
Texas and Oklahoma.
Texas is rolling right now.
They are, but you know what? I think they've lost 6 of the last 8 against Oklahoma State.
I like the way that feels.
And they're good against the run, though, statistically. We'll see
but
how
Oklahoma
good
State can run.
They haven't faced Ollie Gordon this year. You wonder about, how many good running teams have they faced? So I would pick Texas. I don't know what the line is, probably about 14. I would take it. But Oklahoma State, that Gundy, and that, just there's that uneasiness about Oklahoma State that it's almost like you just don't know what you're going to get with Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
They're like that box of chocolates on Forrest Gump.
But look, I expect Texas to win.
I do too.
But I would not be surprised. This sounds like I'm talking out of both sides, but I would not be surprised if Oklahoma State knocked them off.
I would be surprised, but I would not be shocked. It'd be more like, how about that?
Yeah, there we go.
You know, because they've done it so many times before.
Right.
You know, that Gundy's a coach. He's a coach with a crazy haircut, and he's a little bit crazy.
That's the look for you. You've got to do the Gundy.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wear it.
Try it, and if you don't like it, you can cut it the next day.
I'm not going to do that.
Just try it.
No.
Here's the deal. Olin, he hasn't said it out loud, but he did wink. If we get, let's see, if we get to 200 likes before the end of the go hour on the YouTube page, Olin will do a
and
mullet.
everybody contributes. All those 200 contributes $10 to the Olin Buchanan Fund.
Nope, just likes. All we need if we get to 200 likes by the end of the go hour in 24 minutes, Olin will be at work tomorrow with a mullet.
It's not happening.
Cavs, you agree?
I'm all in for
Why don't we
this.
get Kennedy to get a mullet?
I just got my hair cut. And I also have graduation in 2 weeks, so I'm not
kind
going
of a mullet as it is.
Here's the deal. If we get 2,000 likes before the go hour, I'll get a mullet tomorrow too. Okay?
Yeah, is that possible?
I don't think it's possible with my hair. But he agreed to it. Deal. See, people are saying deal. Done. It's binding. I got to make sure I like it. Kennedy, Nick, everybody hurry. I want to see this happen by the end of the go hour. Let's hit a break. We'll come back with OB's power rankings. We are way off the clock. I'm trying to get back on, Louis. I apologize. Right now, we're talking about Chance McClain and Heritage Films. YourHeritageFilm.com. That's the website. OB, I talked about this yesterday in my spot, but since you're here, I'll just bring it up. You're not a coffee guy. But Chance tweeted yesterday that when he worked in the restaurant industry and you asked for decaf, he gave you caffeinated every time. I know that doesn't make you want to go get a Heritage Film, but that's just Chance. He's just being honest. I like honesty. And you love honesty.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do love honesty.
What if you're allergic to caffeine, though? They say there's a little caffeine in decaf, but Chance is awesome. He does these documentary films. He does the Year Flicks, which is really cool. Year Flicks is a benchmark video for kids. So he's got a bunch of A&M clients right now. Like kids are freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and their parents want to kind of document their journey throughout A&M. Freshman year to sophomore year, your general studies, and then you get into this major, and then you tap out junior year. You're now a business person. Senior year, you know what? I'm going to do broadcast journalism. Sounds familiar. I know a lot of you know that story. That's what you can do with the Year Flicks. You have these 4-part stories. You can start it off in 6th grade, whatever you want. He does that with the Year Flicks. He also does the Heritage Film, which is a documentary film about your family business, the patriarch in your family, maybe some good buddies that get together. You want to kind of cherish those moments and have it documented. Chance can do that. The website, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, YourHeritageFilm.com, YourHeritageFilm.com. up?
Bob Seger, man. Bob Seger music always puts me in a good mood.
I wish my wife
I was
loved me
listening
as
to
much as
Three
she
Dog
loved
Night.
Bob Seger.
She doesn't. I was listening to Three Dog Night last night.
I saw you posted about it.
You ever listen to Three
the
Dog
book?
Night?
On the fake book?
Yeah, on the Facebook.
Yeah. My brother calls it fake book. Couple things. Opie, I don't know if we're going to make it. We're at 109 likes. But we might make it by the end of the go. Or,
Such a waste of time.
No, buddy. This is what I know about. This is TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse of CC Creations. This is what I know about you. This is my time, okay? My time. You are a man of the people. You're a man of the subscriber. You're a man of TexAgs loyal listeners. You will not let them down. I know you. You will show. You'll tell us you won't, but you will show up with that mullet if we get to 200.
You know what? I don't have to look like. I don't have to react to this and go look like. What's his name?
Uncle Rico?
No. The coach at Mike Gundy.
Oh, Mike Gundy.
You know why I don't have to?
Why?
Because I'm a man. I'm 61. I'm a man.
By the way, Joshua on the YouTube page says, I was listening on radio, but came over to YouTube just to smash the like button. Appreciate that. Also, my good friend Philip's telling me that John Wrigglesky, loyal listener, today's his birthday.
Hey,
and he
happy
listens
birthday.
to the show all the time.
Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John, and hope you enjoy it. And you can also get a mullet if we get to 200 likes. How about that? That'd be a good birthday gift for your wife.
I'd like to see Broniger in a mullet. Billy's already kind of working on one, isn't he?
No, Billy's got more like
he's got
rock star hair.
Casey Dutton from Yellowstone.
I like Casey Dutton.
I think he's
good
going
character.
for that look.
Good character. Let's get into your power rankings,
Okay,
shall we?
feel free to
this is my question for
interject
you.
and disagree.
Okay. It probably doesn't, but out of curiosity, does coaching change at all? Do anything in this current order, or is this completely based on how the regular season ended?
Regular season.
Okay.
Okay.
Make sure.
Number one, in my
You liked
opinion.
my question.
Feel free to jump in.
Okay.
Georgia.
Agree.
Number two, I'm saying Alabama.
Curry.
Number three, after a lot of thought, I'm going to go with Ole Miss now.
Okay.
10-2 with the win over LSU.
They jumped over Missouri?
10-2.
Jumped over LSU, I'm sorry.
10-2 with the win over LSU.
Yep.
And then I'm going to say LSU 9-3. But they have the win over Missouri. So LSU 4, Missouri 5. I'm going to say Tennessee 6.
Okay.
I'm going to say Texas A&M 7, Kentucky 8, Florida 9, South Carolina 10, Auburn 11.
Okay.
Mississippi State.
And I think
12.
Auburn was pretty low last week.
Yeah, because they lost to
Yeah.
New Mexico State.
Yep.
Yeah. So maybe I should put them ahead.
Well, I believe A&M has next year. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're always going to play Mississippi State.
No, New Mexico State next year.
I
believe A&M has
Mississippi
that.
State. Okay, New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Aggies on Aggies.
Aggies on Aggies.
I should also schedule Utah State and Cal Davis. So I'm going to put Mississippi State 12, Arkansas 13, and Vanderbilt 14.
I don't think I disagree with anything there. Yeah.
The one that
remind me where A&M is again.
I had them at 7.
7. Okay.
You could maybe some would argue put Kentucky
ahead of them.
But you know what? Why would I put Kentucky ahead of A&M when I don't even want their damn coach?
KSR's coming for you.
Who?
KSR. By the way, I like Stoops.
I do too. He's a good coach.
Yeah, and I think he would have been fine. It's not what I wanted. That's just how I say it. Like he would. I wasn't gonna revolt, run the streets. He would have been fine. But I don't. I think there's a higher upside to Mike Elko. I think it fits better. It feels better, and there's more upside. So there you go. You hire Mike Elko.
To me, Elko's like going to the restaurant that I know is good because I've been there. And I know it's good. So why am I going to go down to another restaurant that maybe to eat the same thing that's probably not as good?
Yeah.
Just because somebody, one person thinks maybe it is.
It's like that famous cookie company down the road, right? It's new, it's up and coming, but it's fantastic. Or you can go to another spot that's good, but it's not this.
It's Chips Ahoy versus the the famous cookie
Crumble.
crumble.
Watch the cookie crumble.
Well, that's the way a cookie crumbles. It crumbles. But you know what? Again, that we shouldn't be cracking on Stoops. He's a good football
He's a really good coach.
He is.
Buddy, we're close.
It ain't happening.
It's really close. It's like 189 close.
We're 10 people off.
It ain't happening. I never agreed to this.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Kobe, you need to. I mean, do it for the people.
I would just look like I'm back in East Texas.
Yeah, for a day. Do it for a day.
And then just snip the back.
Or just keep it. Just try it out.
No, I don't think I want
It's going to take you, like the hat backwards, it took years off your life. You look 59.
I'm a man. I'm 61 for about 2 more weeks.
All right, let's hit a break. We do have to continue to talking some business here. We'll get to the News and Social Center, Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Right now we're talking about career opportunities at the Association of Former Students. If you're looking for a reason to come back to Aggie Land, why don't you look at their website at tx.ag/associationjobs and learn more about the positions they have, because they got a bunch of positions open. And I wanted to get back to College Station. Luckily, Billy and TexAgs called me. Well, the association can do that for you as well. They've got a lot of openings in communications, fundraising, former student programs, campus programs, and much, much more. They are the nation's leading premier alumni association, serving the oldest organization in support of that Aggie network. The association plays a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. You got to go check it out. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Howdy Socials, Aggie Green Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide network. If you're interested in joining the team, or sharing with somebody who would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/associationjobs to apply and get more information on each position. we got a class up to join. We got to talk some football, and we're gonna have Ross Bjork here in a moment. But I got to thank our TexAgs audience, and of course the premium boards. Olin, I know you're saying you're going to make them upset, but you're a man of the people. We have 228 likes. We said, can we? We were at what? 39.
I'm not a man of those
people. We were
people.
like low 50s whenever this started.
So I think for a day you need to do it.
Well, that's the problem. You can't have a mullet for a day.
There you are. That's the post that they put. That was what you're going to look like tomorrow. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
so good. He's like Nick Nolte and Olin mixed with like a mullet.
I knew so many girls back in White Oak back in 1980 that had a similar hairdo.
Well, that could be you.
Had all
$5.99.
Had all the Aquanet out and everything, but no, that would not be me.
Well, I hope you do it because the people there's a thread on the premium board about it.
Is there?
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. That's where we find Kennedy Cabin. Let's get to some business. We've had some fun. Let's talk some football.
All of our questions are surrounding around the offensive coordinator hire. So I'll just read one of these text messages. But what are some names you realistically think we could get at OC, and how soon do you think that could/should happen?
Should happen soon. Look, I'm going to say the number one candidate for the position is his existing offense coordinator. I don't know if Kevin Johns is going to come. I don't know. But I'm assuming that would be the easiest transition from an offense that's really good. Now, if Mike is like, hold on, I got $11 million to go with my salary pool. Let's see who else is out there. You got to think about the teams that are still playing in major games. You can't reach out to them. So at least if you're trying to get it done in the next few days, that kind of limits the pool a little bit. You can still make some kind of contact.
I think you could get probably 90%, if not more, of the offensive coordinators in the country that you want.
Right.
You've got a great opportunity. You're going to get paid. You got a quarterback to work with. I think it's be very attractive. A head coach like Elko that I think people are going to like. I wish his old coach, who's the coach at Wake Forest, Dave Clawson, I wish he was willing to be an offensive coordinator. He's a good one.
Yeah. I'm going to just one last thing on the whole hair thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that you should do this at all, okay? I think a mullet's enough. But somebody did suggest 500 likes for a mohawk. I'm just saying it's out there. It's just out there.
I would tell you this. Neither's going to happen, but I think I'd go with the mohawk before I'd go with the mullet.
Well, I disagree. I think the mullet for a week would be great because the people have demanded it. But I understand. OB, when we come back on TexAgs Radio, are you familiar with Ross Bjork?
I am.
He's the athletic director.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
I wonder if he should have ever had a mullet.
There's
mullet
no
or a
chance
mohawk.
that guy. No
He might have had a mohawk when he was a fullback at, what was it, Pittsburgh State or Emporia State?
Well, he's going to be in studio in the next few minutes, so we will chit-chat with him. It is the Go Hour presented by Warehouse, the Warehouse at CC Creations. Much more here on TexAgs Radio when we come back with Ross Bjork.
guess.
We're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, David Nuño, Olin Buchanan, and our guest right now is Ross Bjork, Athletic Director at Texas A&M. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Howdy.
Howdy.
We can say howdy here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't really say that in the press room. I learned that a few weeks ago.
I'm
we can say howdy
embarrassed.
here.
Had I known that I was going to be in this situation, I would have dressed more appropriate for a guest of your stature.
Hey, but here's what I like, though. So we always say, you know what, we have to cover all of our bases, right? So you got your NIL hat on, you got Stacked, right? Texas Aggies United, right, as the official NIL entity of Texas A&M Athletics. So you're representing in all kinds of facets: TexAgs, Stacked, Texas Aggies United,
representing the brand.
Here we go. So thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you. So look, I know we talked a little bit at the press conference. Let's try to go a little deeper and look ahead as well.
Yep.
You've done coaching searches obviously before. And you've done wonderful with Joni and Schloss and Trisha Ford and Jamie Morrison. How different was it, the football aspect of it? Because it's just a different animal entirely.
Yeah, you know, I really equate it to probably more like baseball and women's basketball, meaning from a profile standpoint, the profile was very similar. High-profile sitting head coaches, established sitting head coaches. I mean, think about Joni Taylor. Think about Jim Schlossnagle. They didn't have to leave their situations, right? Mike Elko didn't have to leave, his situation. All the coaches that we were talking to all had great situations that they didn't have to leave, but they wanted to talk to A&M. So I equate it very similarly to those two searches in particular in terms of profile of sitting head coaches. Luckily, I guess with the exception of Jamie Morrison and Brian Corton, the coaches that we have hired here have all been sitting head coaches, right? Garrett Chadwell, University of Houston, sitting head coach. Joni, Schlossnagle, Trisha Ford, at big places. So I think it's really a testament to Texas A&M more than anything. I mean, you could have the greatest AD in the world, but you also have to have the infrastructure, the university that sells itself, the people, the resources, the commitment from donors, from sponsors. We have all of that, and then it's my job to package it and have a vision and then go out and try to recruit these people to come to A&M. So,
how quickly was the number of candidates trimmed down to, 1, 2, or 3? Because it's my understanding there might have been upwards of 20 to 30.
Yeah, the first week, I mean, it was just a volume of activity, from talking to former players to talking to candidates to being on Zoom meetings, being in some face-to-face interviews. Our search firm, I don't know how many phone calls he had. I know how many phone calls I had. It was hundreds, if not even close to 1,000 phone calls. So what I wanted to do is by the weekend of the Abilene Christian game, really zero in on who do we want to talk to again. So let's go back and have maybe a second round. Let's go out and meet somebody face-to-face if we don't know them as well. So we did that activity really after the Abilene Christian game early that week. It's Thanksgiving, right? So people are going to take Thanksgiving Day off, but even though we were still working the phones and working some Zoom meetings. So really by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before the LSU game, that's when it started to kind of the funnel got more narrow. And then people had to play games that weekend, right? Some played on Friday. Obviously, you had Saturday games. So really by Friday night, Saturday morning, I went to the LSU game early, had high school playoff game Friday night that I had to focus on as a dad, so shut down a few hours for that. And then we came back from LSU, and it's like, okay, let's figure out where we are. Who's ready? Who's not? Who's still playing? Right? Obviously, look, I worked with my president, Mark Welsh. He was deeply involved, so that was really neat to have his perspective, really on a leadership, standpoint. So you start having conversations, and then you zero in on, okay, who's ready to take this job, and how do we get this thing done?
Is it fair to say that Mike Elko was a finalist from the beginning? You had to do an exhaustive search. You talked to all these guys, but even, I would say, years ago, there's a thought in the back of this guy's going to be a heck of a head coach, and it may be here one day.
Yeah, I think it goes back to when I was here with Mike, the first time around when he was here as the D coordinator. I got to know him when I first got here, summer of 2019, and you could see it. What I always do is look at all of our coaching staffs and say, who do I think can be head coaches, right? Who has the personality, who wants to do it. There's some coaches that don't want to be a head coach, and that's fine too. So I got to know Mike on that level from the beginning, where he was like, I want to be a head coach. Hey, what do you think I need to work on? How can I get there? Can you help me? And so really the fall of, I guess, summer of 21 and fall of 21, and that's when he got a job. He really started to be more active, I think, in the marketplace. And he had interviewed before for head coaching jobs, but he wanted the right opportunity. So I really saw it when he was here the first time. And then you watch him at Duke, and you're like, okay, look what he did the first year. Look what he's done this year. Right. He had quarterback injury too. If his quarterback stays healthy, does he win 9 games, 10 games? Who knows, right? So Mike was at the top of our list from the beginning. He was one of those people that we said, hey, we want to have a second conversation with, right? And so that occurred. And once that occurred, it was like, okay, we got a lot more specifics. We understood his plan and vision, even to a deeper level. We talked more about staff names and who he might be able to bring, either from Duke or within the marketplace. We talked about timeline on how would you hit the ground running, what would you do. So there was that second conversation, I think, really solidified, like, okay, this guy's ready to lead this program in the SEC, what our vision is. It all matches up. So let's figure out what happens on Saturday and be ready to roll.
Okay, well, got to ask about that period after the LSU win.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happened between the loss.
Yeah.
I mean, the loss to LSU, and then the hiring of. Because I wrote an article about. I wrote an article that was never posted.
Oh, okay.
About A&M hiring Mark Stoops, and obviously that was time wasted.
Yeah.
So what was going on there? And by the way, were you at all, or what was your reaction to the reaction toward Mike?
Yeah. Towards Mike Elko?
Mike.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like there was, as rumors were out there, it seemed like there was a groundswell of support pushing for Mike Elko.
Yeah. Well, look, I think as a leader, here's the thing as a leader. If you go to a linear path and just say this is the only choice or this is the only option, you kind of set yourself up for failure, because what if things fall apart? What if that's not the right option? So as I looked at everything Saturday night, and you're having conversations with leadership on campus, as you're factoring, okay, what do contracts look like for all these different candidates? Like I said, when you cast a wide net and when you have sitting head coaches that want to be involved, it can be really complicated. And so what we did is everybody was active. So why certain reports get out there, or why this person says, hey, I may be taking this job or that job, I can't control that, right? All I can control is what is the right decision. I respect Coach Stoops, and I appreciate what he said in his statement. I think I said that on Monday. He's a sitting head coach in the SEC at a maybe a tough place for football. And so he's done a really good job there. So we had guys that were established that looked at this job. So everything was kept fluid really until the very end. And then it was like, you know what? We believe Mike Elko is the right man. And so at the end of the day, it's where you go, who do you land, who gets the deal done. And that's what we focused on is Mike Elko was prepared for this job. He was equipped for this job. He had a vision and a plan. And my job is to do the right thing for the institution. And so all the flurry of activity, I saw it like Sunday night after everything was done. I'm like, oh, these are all my emails. I don't read my mentions on Twitter. I gave that up a couple years ago. So who knows what that was looking like. I'm sure my son usually reads it, and he usually laughs at all the things that probably wasn't a whole lot to laugh at Saturday night. But look, I get it. These are emotional decisions, but we have to take the emotion out, and we say, what's reality? Who's the right person? How do they fit Texas A&M? What does a deal look like? And if all those things line up, then you pick the right guy for the job, and that's what we did.
So as a talk show host, I just say stuff sometimes, right, that I think. And I know that I'm not in those meetings. But to me, was there a plan, like we have these holes that we need to fix. We need to change certain things. beyond the culture, is that how you went into it? Like, all right, we've done it this way. We need something this way.
You try not to maybe overcompensate one way or another, because I think that's easy to do, right? And so you say, okay, this is what we had before. Let's overcompensate. I'm not sure that always works. Is there going to be comparisons? Is there going to be things that get brought up that say, this is how this was done, and now this is how the new leader's going to? Of course, there's always going to be that. So we'll probably have that sort of comparison for a little while. But at the end of the day, does the person have the right plan to win at the highest level? Do they have a recruiting plan? Do they have an academic plan? Do they have an NIL plan? Because that's obviously part of it. And Coach Elko's already had 2 NIL meetings this week with the group from Texas Aggies United. And so we're going to, bolster that program even more so. The 12th Man Foundation, Learfield, so NIL's a part of it. Do they have a plan on all those fronts? And can they activate that plan at a place like this? And so the wherewithal to do that, I said at the beginning, right? Hey, this is not an 8-4 job. Does somebody have the chops to do this job? Are they ready for, we just made a big decision to make a change. So with that comes a lot of pressure. Are they ready for that? Do they have the right sort of gravitas? So all of those things go into it. And again, did we get it right in the reaction, the player reaction, the recruiting reaction, the donor reaction, the fan reaction, the coach's reaction? I was just talking to Ryan Brodiger out in the hallway. He's hearing from recruits and prospects and families and coaches going, man, A&M got it right. And so those are the things that we'll capitalize on moving forward.
The contract. Okay. How was there any issues at all of getting Mike and his representation to say to agree to, hey, I'm going to take $3 million less than the last guy, but I can make the same or more with incentives? And is that going to kind of you think maybe? I don't mean to interrupt, but it also seems like A&M reset the market on coaches' salaries 6 years ago. And I remember Gene Smith at Ohio State was so upset about it and then gave his coach
the same
Are
thing.
y'all going to reset the way you think coaches' salaries are structured?
Yeah, Olin, I think it's a great question, and I think time will tell for sure. You looked at a couple of hires, one within our league already, and the contract wasn't necessarily the same as ours. Obviously, the value was a little bit different, but the incentive structure was also a little bit different. I just felt like, I think even before the changes, I think the incentive structure on contracts was going to have to change anyway because of the CFP, right? So 12 teams in the playoff, you eliminate the SEC going to the Sugar Bowl. You eliminate the Cotton Bowl because that's now part of the playoff. So to me, the incentive structure was going to change anyway, and I'm not sure a lot of people were thinking that way, and maybe a lot of agents weren't necessarily thinking that way. So I had that on my mind anyway, that we were, no matter who's our coach, we were going to redo the incentive structure because of the CFP. Why wouldn't you do that? And the fact that we have a large base salary, I mean, even the number that we paid Coach Elko is still in the top 20 of coaching salaries in the country. So that's important too. You got to have a base salary. No one's shying away from that. So I don't think one program can necessarily reset the market per se, but I think this is going to be a trend when coaches get hired, when coaches renegotiate to say, we're paying you a high base salary. The minimum standard should be this. I'll give you an example. Coach Schlossnagel, in his contract, he does not have an incentive if we just go to a regional, right? We're paying him a really large base salary that was very competitive, so he doesn't have an incentive for that. And so I think you just have to, what is best for the institution? What does the market look like? What is that coach's experience? All of that layers in, and that was our approach in this contract.
Ross, not to look too far back, but when did moving on from Jimbo become a possibility? And the reason I ask it like that is we all understood the contract.
Yeah.
We understood that it was trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But was there a point where, like, man, was it the Ole Miss game? Was it leading up to it? How did those thoughts actually become action?
Yeah, I think you have to sit back and just evaluate. I don't know if it was the last year or so, but just how is the program operating and functioning on a daily basis? Which, again, I talked a lot about this, which every decision leads to either confidence or lack of confidence. And I just thought the decision-making, the structure, the organization was not leading to confidence inside the program. So that had been kind of going on for a little while. And then I thought, okay, we got the right staff changes. We made the right moves. I thought, offensively, Coach Petrino, highly experienced. I think he was going to shake things up. We had the right quarterback, right, in Connor Wegman. And so all of those pieces, were in alignment. And then, look, you have a tough loss against Miami. Okay, what does that do to confidence, right? You have the Alabama game. We fought, we battled, one possession game. We were right there. That leads to maybe more lack of confidence. So to me, it was a total analysis. And I just thought going into the Ole Miss weekend, I wanted to see what was the demeanor of our team. Did we have any hope going into that game, but coming out of that game? And then really when I got back on Saturday and Sunday, I looked at the calendar. Okay, we have a regent meeting. We're going to have a conversation about it. What does the next 2 weeks look like, right? That was looming. Transfer portal, signing day, the end of the season. To me, we needed to provide stability in the program, and I just didn't think the structure and the organization and the leadership was going to give us the stability. So if we were going to make that decision, let's just do it now. Mm-hmm. All the things lined up to do it now. Let's figure out the money pieces of it, because obviously that's monumental, and we're not running away from that. But to me, it was a combination of the calendar, the way the program was operating. Did we have any hope? Did we have any momentum? And I just didn't feel like we could advance moving forward under that structure. So if that's the decision, then let's pull the trigger now, and let's move forward.
A&M has to pay a lot of money to the previous coach still. And but I wonder, is there a lot of fat that can easily be trimmed that makes it easier to pay that off? And the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is the traveling on Thursdays. But is there other areas of fat that makes it easier to do that?
Yeah, I think you just have to be smart about how we operate. And we invested in football. We're going to continue to invest in football. But I think an efficient, smart plan is what Coach Elko will bring to the table. And so the Thursday night travel, actually, that wasn't really a lot of money. That's probably about a $400,000 expense over 5 road games in addition. So it's not a whole lot of money. I think it was more about sort of the morale of the team. It's an extra night away from your family if you're a coach. It's an extra night away from maybe your friends if you're on the team. You're waking up, in a hotel, or I think Anais said, talked about getting, to a hotel at 1 a.m. The Miami game was actually a little bit later. I think they got to bed about 2 a.m., right, on Friday morning, if you will. So I think that was more about sort of how do people feel about that. It wasn't necessarily a money thing. But, look, our staff pool was $13.5 million. That was one of the high. Does it have to be that way? If you do it smartly and get the right guys, then, you're going to spend a lot of money. I think we put $11 million down as the pool. But that's $2.5 million right there, that if we do it smartly, we can still invest at a high level. So all of those things are being analyzed. Our whole budget's being analyzed. We'll handle the payout over the next 7 years in our budget. We'll handle that, and that's almost like a separate sort of bucket. We'll have expenses go against that. We'll have some new revenue streams that'll go against that, and we'll just kind of set that aside and then say, here's our football budget. Here's our new structure. Here's how we become more efficient. And our budget, we'll make it, but we have to be smart about how we operate.
Ross, have you been surprised or maybe impressed by the patience the current players have shown in this new world of college football? They can just, coach change, I'm out.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen that.
I think it really speaks to A&M, honestly. The culture here, they love it here. I think the resources they're provided from an academic standpoint, whether it's NIL, the facilities, and you play it at a high level. Mm-hmm. And if you're from Texas, this is your home state. So where else, would you want to go? So I think all of those things, look, we're going to have transition. We're going to have turnover. That's going to be part of it. And so if a guy thinks, hey, I can play more somewhere else, or I'm going to have more of an opportunity, maybe I'm closer to home, we'll support those kids if they want to leave. But I think it speaks to the structure that we have here. I think it speaks to Elijah and his leadership. And then now I think what you're seeing is they know Mike Elko. I think he said half the team, right, knows who he is, or he was part of their recruitment. So I think it speaks to a lot of different factors. But the main one, I think, is just really A&M and what this place is all about.
You mentioned Elijah. How serious was he as a candidate for the head coaching position?
We sat down with him last week, and I really wanted to hear what's his vision. What does he think we need from a program standpoint? How would he put some things together if he were the head coach? And so I wanted to make sure that he was given an opportunity where we could hear him out, where we could speak to him. And again, back to everything being fluid. That weekend, this past weekend, and so absolutely he was, he was there as a prospect, and we wanted to make sure that we respected him and his knowledge of our program. So absolutely, Elijah is a great man, and he's done a great job. And let's go win the bowl game under his leadership.
And I guess we'll have to wait and see, but the hope is still that he sticks around.
That's right. Look, Elijah is going to be in demand, and again, that speaks to who he is. So he's going to have opportunities. He's already getting phone calls, things like that. Coach Elko has been proactive with him, really starting on Sunday. I've been proactive with him the last 2 weeks. He has a new contract, on the table, obviously to stay here. So we want to solidify that. But he's also got things coming his way that he has to weigh and that he has to analyze what's best for him and his family. But knowing that his, love is here at A&M and the continuity and his relationship with Coach Elko and our players, we'll see what happens, over the next couple days.
So, in your opinion, where is A&M in terms of reaching this goal of fielding an elite football program?
I think we're at the doorstep. I think one of the factors of players not necessarily, jumping in the portal right away, I think speaks to they see the potential here. They see the opportunity. They see the talent that they have on the team. And Coach Elko asked every player in the team meeting room, who thinks we can win a national championship next year? The whole room raised their hand, right? So I think we can be really close. Now, we have to shore up some roster spots. You got to get some guys healthy. Obviously, quarterback is key. O-line play is key. Staff, continuity and building out the staff is key. But I think given the talent, given the recruiting class, so we'll see how many guys end up signing here. To me, we can be right there on the doorstep.
What's keeping it from being there already?
Honestly, I think it's been an overall plan and an overall vision and having somebody that has the wherewithal to work constantly at that plan and be consistent about that plan and have an identity where we can say, this is what A&M football is. And we've been kind of on this wandering road. Some people say it's the wilderness. We've been in the wilderness and we're trying to find our pathway out. To me, it's all about who's the leader and who is operating the plan and the infrastructure behind that. To me, that's what's holding it back. And then you match a great plan and a great leader with the A&M resources. To me, that's where we can take off. So that's what I think has been holding us back.
Because this fan base is so thirsty for the success that we envision. How do you, analyze or evaluate success in year one? Is it wins? I think that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah. I think it's obviously on the field, right? That Notre Dame game, opening weekend, how electric is that going to be? We don't know game time yet, but I would anticipate a prime time type game, a night game here at Kyle Field. So to me, progress on the field, but also momentum off the field, right? What's the fan base reaction? What's the recruiting reaction? How's everything tying together with sponsorship and donations? And we have more projects that we need to complete in the Bright Slocum building. How do we have momentum on some of those projects? What does NIL look like? What's the Texas Aggies United platforms look like, right? What's the 12th Man Foundation look like? You look at momentum in the program. You look at on-the-field success. You look at fan response. To me, that's what you're going to look at. Of course, winning helps. I mean, winning solves a lot of problems at a university, right? Not just in athletics, but all over campus. And I always say it's not the most important thing, but it's the most visible. And so we have a responsibility to do our job. And so I think you'll evaluate it in all of those categories. And then ultimately, you got to produce. And I want to be in the college football playoff conversation as soon as we can. And I think our schedule speaks to that next year. I think the opportunities are there next year. And look, let's just put the plan together and let's go win a lot of games.
You've only been here, what, 4 years?
4.5 years.
Yeah, have you learned to hate Texas yet?
Who? Right? Who?
Because if you haven't, I guess you will by November 3rd.
Can you imagine? Which, by the way, that was premature to have that news out there. The full schedule comes out on December 13th on the SEC network. So I can't talk about the date of that game. But yes, I have learned quickly that yes, there's an intense rivalry. But can you imagine that game? I don't think. Obviously, it was a big game before, right? But the fact that we haven't played them in, 12, 13 years, whatever it'll be next year. The fact that it's now an SEC game, the fact that both programs are going to be clipping along at a really high level, I don't think people have any comprehension yet of just the aura that's going to be around that game. It's
higher extra security.
It's going to be off the charts. Extra security, extra traffic flow. I mean, it's going to be monumental. So
I know you
can't wait.
I know you got to head out to a meeting. Just if you can before you leave, facilities update, anything you can provide there, baseball, soccer, everything.
Yeah, you guys see the skyline changing, from your office right here. So the Adamson Academic and Wellness Center, we've got steel coming out of the ground. That'll be done by August of 2024. I mentioned the Bright Slocum building. We need to do some things on the first floor. We need to renovate the locker room. We need to do some things to the lobby. We've got our old breakout rooms, the old position meeting rooms. Yep. We want to turn that into the player lounge. That will most likely happen after the 24 season and be ready by the 25 season. So that's the football-related stuff. But indoor track opens in January. We'll have our first track meet in the middle of January. So that's exciting. Bluebell Park is still continuing to be studied and analyzed, and I know people want more, action on that, but it just takes time to get that right. But our soccer, Ellis Field, renovation and expansion, we hope to start on that project in the summer of 24 and have some things ready by fall of 25. So facilities are nonstop. We're also working on the indoor tennis complex with the city of Bryan. We hope to break ground on that next summer. So facilities are nonstop. I mean, we have to do all of it. We have to do NIL. We have to sell tickets. We have to raise money for facilities. We've got to support our athletes. So we're nonstop. Busy times.
Ross, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you guys
very much. This was great.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Obi, thanks for sticking around.
You bet.
All right, when we come back, an open segment, then we'll talk a little hoops next on TexAgs Radio. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. Look, we're way off the clock. We went super long with Ross. It's been that kind of day, that kind of week, so we're going to do something real short here. We'll come back with Tom Schuberth, and then we'll come back with Leon O'Neal. I hope I can fit this all in the next half hour before we start recruiting country. I think there was a lot of takeaways from that Ross interview, and if you didn't get to listen to it in its entirety, please go check out the podcast later or check out the YouTube post on it. But all that being said, I think one of the big takeaways I got is that they have a contract on the table for Elijah Robinson, but he's going to weigh his options, as he should. And I know that they're trying to do everything that they can to keep him here. He's going to coach them through the bowl game, but he's got options. He's got teams calling, and that's certainly going to be part of the conversation for Elijah. Like, what is out there? Where do I want to be? He says it was a 40-year decision for him. I hope he stays. I also understand the lure of, to see what's out there. So hopefully they keep him around. The facilities update, there'll be little parts of that here over the next couple years. And obviously went into the evaluation. And the part that I took away from the Elko part was like his plan, his vision, the potential staff he could bring. All that was a great part of the interview. Let's hit a break. Sorry for a short segment, guys, but we want to get back on the clock. We'll talk a little Aggie basketball with Virginia coming up, A&M and Virginia coming up tonight. Then we'll get into our great interview with Leon O'Neal. By the way, where's your pain? Is it in your knees, your hips? Is it in your back? Don't let that sideline you any longer. Don't let them tell you that surgery is your only option, because guess what? It's not your only option, guys. Steroids are not your only option. You can call QC Kinetics and get that regenerative medicine done the right way, restoring and repairing that damaged joint tissue, and they do it the old natural way. The science of using properties from your own body to bring you lasting relief. And again, there's no drugs and there's no downtime. That's the beauty of it all. They're trusted by patients all over the U.S., over 150 clinics nationwide with advanced protocols to get you moving once again. You can use your FSA and your HSA funds. I always have a hard time with those two. And these advanced regenerative treatments are getting amazing reviews out there. Again, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Let them, the medical professionals, give you a better path towards pain-free life. 979-452-6000. QC Kinetics, 979-452-6000. That is 979-452-6000. All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Leon O'Neal interview coming up at 9:47-ish or so. Let's talk a little Aggie hoops. They got a big one tonight. We'll have to see how healthy they are for it. Let's go straight to the Brian Foley Law Hotline. That's where we find Tom Schuberth. Coach Tom, how are you, sir?
Doing fine, David. Good morning.
Is that a cruise ship I see you on?
It is. I hate to say that, but it is. Yes, sir.
Hey.
I'm in the cabin right now while my wife's enjoying the outdoors. So,
well, I appreciate you making a few minutes for us. We love your analysis. So, considering that I don't think A&M has played a great brand of basketball this year. At times they've been great, but I don't know if they've been the team we expect them to be, and that's normal for the early part of the year. A couple injuries, obviously. How do you think they have played to the 6-1 record?
well, I would say exactly what you just said, David, but that's great news because when you don't play well and you find ways to win, that's wonderful. When they start putting it together, get healthy, find the proper rotations, start shooting the ball better, I mean, we're going to be hard to deal with. I think you and I've talked so much. I'm sold on this team. They're finding ways to win even when they're not playing well. And as an opposition coach, those are the teams you hate to play against because you really don't have a perfect strategy to try to beat them. And so if we ever put a total game together, I think we can beat anybody in the country.
How long? Oh, let me see how I want to phrase this. Can they navigate without some of their stars potentially? I don't know how long, Boots is going to be out, if he's going to be out, or if Henry's going to be out. I know that Buzz keeps all that close to the vest, but with an opponent like Virginia and what's still ahead, how long can they navigate without those guys?
Well, what's interesting sometimes, David, when you lose somebody that's a star player, sometimes another guy steps up. And ironically, when we were able to win 2 games, or at least a consolation game in the tournament in Florida, maybe we wouldn't have won if those guys were playing and healthy. You never know. So I think, again, it's a great tribute to what Buzz is doing with the team. They're so deep. We talked about their depth. So I love their matchups. The guys that have stepped up, and particularly Solomon getting more minutes. He's just done a great job. So it's a fun team to keep watching and see who's going to be as I say, the hero of each game. Who's going to step up and be the leader and the winner.
Let's talk a little bit about more Solo because he looked like a player last year, right? He just needed time. He's getting that time. He's hitting threes. He's blocking shots. He's grabbing rebounds. He's running the floor. Break down his game, what you've seen so far.
Well, he's playing with tremendous confidence, and I think he did even when he wasn't getting many minutes. They talk about his maturity level. He was a true freshman, which is very difficult at a Power 5 school to come in and play. And I remember Buzz talking about, he just needs to get more mature. And I think thrusting him into this lineup a little quicker than he had to because of injuries, he's really accepted it well. But he's hard to deal with. I mean, the fact that he made 3 threes the last game, when I'm watching the games at home, I kind of cringe sometimes, David, when he takes them because I like to see our, kind of professed 3-point shooters shoot him. But, he's dangerous out there. So now they've got to honor that. And then his tenacity on the boards, on both the offensive and defensive end. He's just perpetual motion going after every shot that goes up on the boards.
Talking to Tom Schuberth on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. Let's talk WED for a minute. Maybe the earlier comment I made about I don't think we've played our brand of basketball completely yet might be because I don't know if WED has played his style yet completely. Although, even though his shooting at times has been down and he's had some turnovers here or there, I feel like when he has to be great at the end of games, he finds that level.
Absolutely. I mean, again, that's a testament to his ability and then his confidence. He's a very confident player. And you and I have talked, when he gets his feet set and he has an open shot, I feel they're going in every time. I don't think he's gotten those looks because people are keying on him. But he'll have those games where he busts out for 30-some points, and hopefully it's the games where we need him to do that. Particularly in this game tonight, the way Virginia plays defense, they protect the basket. They do a tremendous job of doing that. But I think it's going to allow WED to get some good looks if we reverse the ball, get some inside-out looks, and then get his feet set, and hopefully he can get in some rhythm and really carry our offense.
Tom, let's close out with Virginia, a proud program. We know what they've been able to do and how consistent they have been. They're going to slow the game down. But can they rebound with the big boys the way A&M seems to rebound?
Well, statistically, no, but each game is different, and obviously that's what their focal point is trying to compete with us on the boards. The unique thing is that the way we're playing, I think we're in every game. I made that comment last week that we're never out of a game because we can have a spurt where we just keep beating people on the boards, and we're not shooting the ball well, but we're scoring at an efficient rate because each possession we're finding a way to either get to the free throw line or it may take us 3 or 4 shots, but we're scoring. So I think we're going to have a lot of success tonight. I don't know if the slowdown game is really what we want, but I think if we take care of the basketball, we haven't been turning it over, and we get great looks, we're going to be successful.
Tom, enjoy your stay, and we'll chat when you get back. All right, buddy?
Sounds great, David. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tom Schubert there on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. Let's hit a break. We'll come back with our interview with Leon O'Neill. Right now, Milliken Reserve time, farm-to-table community in College Station. Homes, awesome. Trails, awesome. Farms, awesome. Wide open spaces. I think that's awesome too, right? I like to run. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature, and they've done that by treading lightly on the land. Milliken Reserve is creating a sanctuary for family, for nature, and community. Let's talk about the neighborhoods out there because they're beautiful. You got the creek. Homes on 10-plus acre wooded estates. They are awesome, and each homeowner's vision tells a unique story. The Hollow, they're in a private gated community that directly connect to the trails out there. You got the meadows, and they're responsive to that natural surrounding out there. Milliken Reserve is rooted in Texas soil. If it sounds like a place for you, check it out, millikenreserve.com. But if you just want to go hang out there, get your veggies there, go for a walk, go for a hike, go for a bike ride, I should say. You want to go kayaking. You want to say, hey, I like to ride horses. Let's do the equestrian trails. Evening yoga. You can do that all at Milliken Reserve. You don't have to live there. They let everybody in. It's America, baby. Why not go? MillikenReserve.com is the website, MillikenReserve.com. Super excited about our next guest. First off, when I first moved back to College Station, I saw this dude all over Instagram, working out, leading his team, and now he's fighting the good fight on social media for Texas A&M. Let's go straight to the Brian Foley Law Hotline, joined by Leon O'Neal. What's up, man?
What's happening?
Hey, I got to tell you, like, you speak my language. Day one, like, there's certain types of players that I like, right? And people make fun of me about, I love Draymond Green. I don't care. I love him. I love Pat Beverly. I feel like you're a football version of that without getting in trouble. Right?
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Absolutely. I'm definitely the villain.
but you're the villain that we need, the hero in the villain, right? Like, you fight the fight for us on social media, don't you?
No, yeah, I think this world we live in today is big on influence, and that's why you kind of see the misinterpretation that people want to put out about A&M so consistently on that platform. And it was not that big of a deal then as it is now, because influence matters whether you like it or not. And so when you got people who are, excuse my language, but they're like incompetent about A&M, ignorant about A&M, they speaking nonsense above the masses. And I know how that works. I know how that operates as a recruit. I know how all that works. And so, like, when you got players who can come back and say positive things about the school, and I'm being factual, I'm not fronting or at all. You can come check it out yourself. It means something. And I'm a big Aggie, and I think I committed to the school, and it wasn't just a 4-year decision. It was a 40-year decision. So every time I get an opportunity to check, and I'm not actually playing ball at the moment, I'm full on Aggie. And, like, that's just the way that's the only way I know how to operate. So.
Well, I see you tweeting basketball. It doesn't matter. You're all over the place in a great way. Let's talk about Sunday. All right, the news comes down. Mike Elko, your former defensive coordinator, named the head coach at Texas A&M. You were super happy. Tell us the why behind it.
Mike Elko, just first thing first. You got to find a great man like to coach, and you got to find a great man who understand the principles of A&M and has an open mind on how to grow and how to do certain things and how to elevate. Week in and week out, you see him do that at DC for A&M, and you see the growth we had from the time he came here, from 2018 to the time he left to 2021, and you can see the dramatic difference of his influence on players, his influence on a team. Every time people watched A&M, they knew what Elko was about. That's why when he came back, it was all cheers. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, Elko, let's go!" They lit about it because he moves in a certain way and he operates in a certain manner. And so, like, when you get to see him come back now and he end up being able to speak, Elko does not like to speak. I don't know if y'all know this or not. Even when he did the Warham, he want to be out the spotlight. He want to coach his team. Like, he's not interested in none of the flash. He's about business. And I'm sure him being head coach, he got to be the pinnacle in the face. That's new for him. But that's not what he cares about. Growing you as a man. He cares about you learning the playbook and actually growing as a player mentally, physically, so you could get to the level that you're capable of getting at. He's seen you as a recruit. He know the talent that you have, and he feel like he's responsible for you excelling. And I think he wears that on his sleeve every day he wakes up, and his wife wears it. His son and daughter wears it. They understand. And this is the type of coaches you're getting at A&M. It's not just no, like, slap on the wrist. I love the media. Oh my God. Oh, he's a slap on the wrist. He's a good coach. He wasn't the splash that they needed. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all have no idea what y'all talking about. And that's the ignorance that I feel like I have to speak up for, because y'all wasn't in that room when he changed my life as a man. And Jimbo did a great job with me as well, but I committed to Elko. I committed to A&M. And honestly, like, you watch Michael Clemens, you watch Buddy Johnson, you watch the guy that came in, Jalen Jones, Antonio Johnson, Damani Richardson, who, hopefully he's come back or whatever. But like that, Keldrick Carper, I could go on and on about these guys who made A&M special on the defense side of the ball. He has a unbelievable knack of understanding what the offense is trying to do, and he capitalized on it. Now he gets to be the head coach. And, like, he's going to hire the right people. He's going to make it his vision. And we always believed his vision. So that's why we were so happy when he came to A&M. He understands what it means to be a people person and how to gain relationships. He's phenomenal. And so I could go on and on all day about this guy.
Leon, what do you think? Like you get to talk to some of these younger players that maybe didn't play for Elko but have heard about him, or some of them did play for Elko. Do you feel the sense of like, man, I'm intrigued by this dude?
Absolutely. It's you got to sit there in a room and get to know him. He's real. Like he has no problem telling that 5-star kid, like once you meet him, like, man, you might not grad, like you might not get drafted 3 years. We're gonna try, but like it might not be the goal. And you have to humble it and sit down and understand that. Like, what is wrong with that? It's like, and I think Nick Saban brought this up too. He also talked about this too, because it's you in the era of NIL and people transferring and all these other things. These kids don't believe in development no more. They don't look in the mirror and take ownership no more, accountability no more. It's like, dude, you're so caught up in these 4 years that you don't understand you got to live past that. So, like, you developing into a better man is going to make you a better athlete. And when that better athlete, that better man, is going to get you an opportunity to go to the NFL. That's how that's how it works every time, straight up. You know, and also as far as winning championships, it takes everybody to get in line with that. And Elko has the blueprint for it. Honestly, I feel like he does. And I think I can talk all day, but I'm gonna do just like Elko do. Elko does not like to talk. He just want to show you with straight action. Like he hated when I get on Twitter. Oh my God, Elko hated it. I'm telling A&M, Elko probably still hate it when I get on Twitter and tweet because he does not like the extra nonsense at all. He hates chaos. He just wanted to be, we're gonna do our damn job and they're gonna respect us for it. That's it. And he's gonna go on his merry way. That's how he always operated. Even after a win, it was all hugs, love, and we're going to next week.
Leon, this is probably a hard question for you to answer, but why do you think it didn't work for Jimbo here?
I've been real open about that as of lately on spaces and stuff like that. And Jimbo is a phenomenal man, first of all. The things he did for me and my family and A&M, I thought was special because he built ingrained culture. He's the reason Elko could come back here and be the head coach. He's the reason E-Rob could be around us as guys and stuff like that. But I can't say, like, it was tough at times when offense wasn't as successful as we wanted them to be. You know, and I take accountability on defense. We gave us some stuff, but it was always hard when you make 3 stops and offense couldn't get score on a consistent level. I think bringing Elko in, that changes dramatically. Why do I feel that way? Is because just the offensive style, the grit he's going to come with and stuff like that. I thought Jimbo had that at times, but it was also at times where we lacked. And any man on this earth knows in order for progress, you got to have change. And I think that was just the time. And we all got a time, and changes happen in life. So I think that's the main thing. But Jimbo, like I said, he was super close. It was a year we went 9-1. It was a year we beat Bama.
Sorry, radio audience. There's more to that interview. Go to TexAgs.com. There's about 4 minutes left. Is that right, Nick? 3.5, 4 minutes.
Yeah, got a lot left. Really good interview.
So go to TexAgs.com to listen to that. We'll post it here momentarily. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, Ryan Broniger, and guess who else is here? Are you familiar with Billy Lavernius Lucci? That's right. Billy will be in studio. We'll do a little recruiting country. Aaron Murray after that. Coach Pat Henry after that. It's TexAgs Radio. See you in a bit. Welcome back in TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in this morning. It is time for Recruiting Country, presented by Caprock Health System, a faster patient-centered revolution in care with 2 ERs in the Bryan College Station area. You've got the full-service hospital with ER in Bryan on Briarcrest and the original 24-hour ER in South College Station on William D. Fitch. Find them online at caprockhealthsystem.com. So Billy's in the building. He's going to join us. And I think I see him. And Ryan Broniger will join us here in a moment. So we got a lot of stuff. One of the things I want to know is, like, I know Bronny's been updating as much as he can on the boards, he and Jason Howell. But how is Coach Elko being received from the commits out there, right? And just the Texas high school coaches and whatnot. So we'll talk with Bronny about that here throughout the program. And let's see, 281 says, I heard Ross in the press conference, the $11 million budget for football staff was top 10 in the country. Then I saw something about Georgia, Alabama staff being $9 million. So who are some of the other programs with large coordinator budgets? I don't know, but I would assume Oregon's probably up there, the usuals out there. Is that Kennedy Cavan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center?
It is Kennedy Cavan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Kennedy, I don't know if you got to hear the interview with Leon O'Neal.
We were listening upstairs, yes.
What'd you think?
I thought it was cool. I thought the angle of the camera was an interesting one, but I think he had it was really interesting.
It was very good.
I like him. I've liked him since he played here.
Me too. And again, if you didn't catch, because of time constraints, we couldn't finish the last 3 minutes of that interview. But if you would like to listen to it in its entirety, please go to TexAgs.com. It'll be posted if it's not already posted out there. Cavs, let's try to get a text message or two as I wait for the recruiting crew, shall we?
Of course. I saw them outside. There was a text message earlier that I thought was very cool. It was from Seth and Brian. He said, after watching and hearing Elko, I have to say he reminds me so much of Coach Buzz, and that excites me to no end to have another genuine coach with the mindset of be about it, don't talk about it.
Be about it, don't talk about it. Look, I'm okay with a little talk. I mean, we just heard Leon O'Neal a minute ago who talked quite a bit, and he even said that was one of the things that would irk Coach Elko. But I'm okay. Come on in, Bronny. It's all good. But
it's gonna be one of those weird things
this is such
where
a weird angle.
Where we sit on the same side of the desk because of somebody. Look, do you think that there are people that tune into this radio program?
Yes, sir.
That are local business owners around this wonderful community of ours, and they tune in just to hear Recruiting Country. They look forward to it. I get text about it.
Yeah.
People that I've known for a while, and then, so whenever somebody else comes in and takes my airtime away from me for an entire week, I get text about it. And I just wonder if somebody's worried about me. Do you think that there may be somebody that works here that's worried about my comeuppance?
I don't know.
Trying to still take my shine.
I don't think I will accomplish anything by answering this question. I think I can only make enemies in this either way I answer. So I'm going to be very politician, excuse me. Political-like, and be like.
Well, you do hang out with Olin every morning.
That guy.
Politic-Olin, as we were calling him.
Hey, so I'm sure we'll go several different directions when Billy joins us, but kind of expand on one of the things you were talking about, how the Texas high school coaches are receiving Coach Elko. What's the vibe you're getting? Because I think you've heard from a lot of coaches.
I started hearing from coaches on, was it Sunday or whenever it started leaking that he was headed to College Station, and mostly from Greater Houston and all points of the city of Houston, and how just excited and pumped they were, and expressing that they thought A&M made a very wise decision. And then when you fast forward to his introductory press conference, not only did he mention the Texas High School Football Coaches Association and had great things to say about them and how open and welcoming the program will be with Coach Elko at the helm for these Texas high school football coaches, he did it very early on. So it was a priority to him to speak to those Texas high school football coaches, regardless of what the perception was of A&M under the last head coach. He wanted to make sure that now that he's got the reins here, this is the way that it's going to be. I thought it was very wise. I thought it was prudent that he did that. And this narrative that has surfaced on social media and even on our message board that somehow the Texas high school football coaches don't matter anymore, and that they feel like they have to have their back rubbed all the time, that it couldn't be further from the truth. And let me tell you this. Jason and I work directly with those coaches a whole lot in our jobs, right? Week to week, sometimes day to day, talking to head coaches, assistant coaches, recruiting coordinators at these high schools. I talk to them mostly in Houston, and Jason in Dallas. But I got great relationships in Southeast Texas and San Antonio, all over the state. Those coaches are massive assets for us at TexAgs. They're massive assets for Texas A&M. Most of them will do whatever they can for the kids that they coach. They sacrifice time with their families. They sacrifice a lot of their own personal free time to make sure that these kids are looked after and are doing whatever they can to get them to the next level. They are a massive asset to the kids, to us, to Texas A&M, to every major school in the state of Texas. And the fact that Mike Elko addressed them early on should tell you how important they actually are. So this, I don't know where this fairy tale originated from, that they don't matter or that they need their back scratched. Most of these they're just good dudes that enjoy coaching, have a passion for impacting kids' lives. And I'd say that with being as genuine as I can. I'm not fluffing this stuff. Like, it bothers me whenever people post that kind of stuff on our message board. Yeah. Because what inevitably happens is that it gets screenshotted, and then when Jason or I show up somewhere, I get a coach that'll say, yeah, somebody sent me a message from y'all's website, a post from y'all's website where they were kind of crapping on us.
My thing is, why not be good to them?
There's no downside.
There's zero downside, right? In fact, there's only upside.
Exactly. And it goes back to one of these things where, just like on Twitter, when you have the veil of anonymity to post whatever you want to without your name attached to it, you get a little bit more bold and brazen about posting whatever. And I tweeted it yesterday, and this isn't a shot at the posters. This is just a good reminder in general, but especially a good reminder this time of the year in the recruiting calendar with the coaching change and all the transition happening. Don't associate somebody's ability to hit post and send with their ability to be right. You better make sure the people that you're listening to know what they're talking about. Because right now, and Jason and I are hearing it every hour on the hour, there's so much stuff out there that's being passed around, sewing circles, and people that think they know and they have no idea, and it's completely fabricated. And before you know it, it develops a life of its own, much like what I was saying about the Texas high school football coaches, much like somehow came out about Mike Elko as a recruiter. And it's a good transition into what he's done in the first 48 hours, and especially in the last 12 hours. These narratives get developed, and they could not be further from the truth. And it's like a groupthink or almost like a mob mentality with it. Like, there doesn't matter. I could sit down and present you with all the facts as to why you're wrong, but because it's so deeply ingrained in your belief and all the people you talk to believe it, you don't care about the facts. You'd rather just dig your heels in on what you already believe.
Yeah. So let's talk about the last 12 hours. I know that you've been working the phones, you've been hearing stuff. Where are we?
It really is, this is a busy time of the year. Me and Jason understood that whenever there's a coaching change, like, it's going to be 6 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, and you're always on call right now. And that's kind of the way it's been since they made the hire. In the last 12 hours, I know for a fact that Coach Elko has begun contacting the current commit class. The initial response from the ones that we've talked to, from the sources around the ones that we've talked to, has been insanely positive. I would expect that you see multiple commits come out today to reaffirm their commitment. I think they're already in the process of planning return visits to Texas A&M. One thing to think about, that whenever there's a coaching change, you can re-official visit. So even if they've already had their official visit to A&M, they can do that again. We're running out of weekends to do that. So I put a note out on the board this morning. I don't want to get too detailed into what we talk about here, because there's real incentive. If you're into this stuff, there's real incentive right now to subscribe to TexAgs. Yep. And we are posting big recruiting intel nuggets. We're posting small things. We're posting what we're hearing. But that is for the people that, that pay us for it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit. Can I throw some names out at you or how do you want to handle this? Because there's I think you're in a weird position because we don't know. We just feel good. Is that maybe a fair way of
We're starting to know. Let me back up. What are you referring to?
Like individual players?
Yeah, we're starting to know firsthand now. And as those conversations happen, I believe he talked with Dalen Evans last night. I believe he talked with Miles Davis last night, Miles O'Neal, A.J. Maddox, Dominic McKinley. Like, these are all names that I feel pretty confident in. They've had a conversation with Coach Elko either last night or early this morning. I also know that there are some parents getting on the phone call list. Mm-hmm. And right now, I've said it before, he's got to be drinking through the biggest fire hose of all time, just inundated with stuff, and how it was going to be very important, his organization and the planning. And it sounds like right now, when he's not meeting one-on-one with players, this is coming from player parents. It sounds like not player parents, recruit parents that are saying, yeah, he was telling us, like, we're going to get on his schedule whenever he's got this opening. So he's being pretty meticulous with his day and when these phone calls are going to happen, and get them on the schedule and holding to that agenda, holding to that itinerary. So, again, I think that's the best way to do it is you've got to divvy up your time and give the proper people your time and understand the people that matter. Like right now, obviously, hiring a staff is incredibly important.
Yep.
Outside of that, who are the most important people in this equation? The current players are massively important.
Sure.
He's meeting with those kids one-on-one as much as he can. After that, who's the most important?
The recruits.
The recruits. And then, to go back to my original point when I sat down, right after the commits, you know who else is really important? The commits and their families. The coaches and the trainers that have the bonds with the recruits. So outside of that, nobody else's opinion really matters, right?
Right.
And I think he's done it from what I understand. I think Coach Elko has hit the ground running once he was able to get around to the recruiting stuff, has hit the ground running, and he's got the ball rolling. And I would expect to start seeing some stuff today. We will, we meaning Jason and I, will start reaching out to the kids to get quotes. Like, how'd the conversation go? How are you feeling on your commitment? I think some of them unprompted will put out how they feel.
Okay.
Just based on some stuff I'm hearing behind the scenes.
So I'm a parent. I understand that as a parent, you see things through your kid's lens and nothing else matters, right? So I'm sure Coach Elko, who happens to be a parent of athletes, by the way, understands all that. So he's got to divvy up so much, but understand that connection, and I know he does because of the way you're talking about it, like he's got so much the staff, the things that we don't know, walking around that building and meeting people and knowing like where to go. Like, I know he knows where to go, but
well, there's some new stuff that's been built over there. He's got no idea about that new indoor and where all that stuff is yet. I can imagine like he hadn't had time to walk through it and really get to know all the new stuff.
And he doesn't want to put a time limit on these. Like, you want to have a genuine conversation with these folks.
I'm sure there are certain people on campus that are wanting to get some FaceTime with him that are massively important to what he's doing and what he wants to do. And he's got to meet with those people too. And you think about this, David, how many phone calls do you take a day that it's kind of like whatever? Okay, you're getting information, you're talking to somebody, whether it be your wife or your kids, and it's just small talk. You get off the phone, you don't even think about it again. Right now, he can't even have those conversations because every time the phone rings or every time he picks it up to call somebody, it has to be intentful. And he's talking to people that matter, and the relationships matter, and the information shared really matters. So mentally, what that has to put you through is he's got to go to bed just exhausted every night, not from physical exhaustion, but just
mental exhaustion,
the mental wherewithal, and probably the emotion of leaving a place that we know that he loved in Durham, and leaving a place that gave him his first head coaching opportunity, and the emotion and that it takes in the decision making that it takes, or the emotion in the decision making, to bring your family across the country again.
Right.
That's not easy. And his kids, he probably won't be around his kids very much for right now because they're still living in Durham, and he'll be here. So like, just the whole thing, like, and until he gets some help around him, whether it be the coaches that are here currently or new guys coming in, he's doing a whole lot of it by himself. So just the amount of responsibility he's taken on in the first 48 hours Like I said, it goes back to him being a meticulous planner and being organized, which we knew about him when he was here the first time. Now, I think it's really coming more to the forefront. I'm not saying that Jimbo had him in a box by any means, but there's going to be some elements about Coach Elko that we didn't know about because we didn't get to see when he was the defensive coordinator.
Let's do this. Let's hit a break. I think Billy's going to join us in the next segment. I think he's walking around on the phone.
Well, if he made me sit next to you awkwardly for an entire recruiting country, I'm going to be. Oh, no, he walks in right when the segment's ending.
All right, we're going to hit a break. We'll come back with Billy and Bronny on the other side. A moment now for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Great deals on the website. You start your search there. You go there, you're going to see the vehicles that they have, right? You take a look at the pre-owned, the cars that they're selling, and you're going to get a feel for what they have on the lot and also a feel for the pricing. If you make the commute out there, you're going to be blown away from the entire experience. We're talking the best customer service, the best price point, and also amazing trade-in value. You put that together, you have an incredible experience at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Fast forward down the line, when you need service, well, they got complimentary pickup for all of their service customers out there. They're proud supporters of Aggie Athletics. They've been doing that for a long, long time. They're a part of this community because they care. Remember, it's not a far drive. The very edge of Bryan to the very edge of Caldwell. We're talking 15 minutes, just a short conversation away. But you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for a little more recruiting country, brought to you by Caprock Health System.
Don't call it that when he's here.
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know, but he's horned in on me multiple times in the last 3 weeks.
It's free stuff.
Completely took my airtime last week.
That's right.
And now you've
What
cut
about
into
the 3 weeks? I feels like
the week
two.
before you came in and we had to talk up something that you were like,
probably the head coaching change, perhaps.
But again,
Maybe.
there are people in this town, this community, that look forward every week to recruiting country with Ryan Broniger.
The people
and
in the
you
back,
horn your-
the word on the street in back there is that you come on every week and say a lot of words and don't give any information.
See, that's his own narrative.
But
That's what they say.
Isn't that by design? So you go to texags.com.
Thank you, David.
Hey, it's a
Thank you, David.
Thank you. It's a
Yeah, got you.
balance. It's a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. You got to tap dance a little bit.
You can't just but you can't just say this football's got some brown on it and some white on it, and that's factual. So therefore, I just told you how it's going to be.
Hey,
this football's got some brown, you might get them, but it's got some white, you might not.
Did you notice that yesterday I made a comment in the running recruiting thread about
The benching or the curls?
plate loaded preacher curls I was
That's what it was.
posting between sets?
Hard at work, hardest working man in showbiz.
That's crazy because I don't get in there and get distracted like some other people.
I'll get distracted now. Don't
With
kid
the best
yourself.
of 'em.
Not only that, but I'll also distract.
You will distract.
I go in there like a tornado ripping through.
What are you working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just meet you over there when you do that.
At least I wear sleeves. I will say that.
I don't mind you don't wear sleeves.
I think twice a
There's
year.
a
I don't wear
word for
sleeves.
it.
It's called
There's a
guns.
word for it.
That's what it's called, guns.
I'm not going to say it.
Was
but
it look at me?
That's not one word.
Have
but
you
I'll
ever
say
seen
this.
Hyphenated.
Have you ever seen me post a shirtless pic? No.
I mean, it starts with a D. It ends in an E. It's not dude.
Die?
No, it's not going to kill you to wear no sleeves, but there's more letters. There's an O, a U, and a C. H. But I'm just saying.
I didn't know. You still don't know what it is?
I want.
I'm not even
He
paying
doesn't
attention.
speak English. Remember?
ESL. He said your ESL.
I didn't. Say
I'll
that.
text it to you while
The
he talks.
Instagram guy said it.
That's your friend.
Oh, if that guy, what's his name? I don't even say his name. If I get his real name, we're going to talk about it on
I
there.
think it's his real name.
Same with I'm going
I
to
got
I'm going to out this guy. There's a guy on one of the competing websites that's had a vendetta against me for years. He used to work at A&M in either equipment or in the training staff, and I'm that close to getting him. And we're going to talk about him, his name, and everything I find out about him. So it's going to be fun. With that said, you get that when you come after me for 10 straight years and you're that worried about me and you make it personal. You want to make it personal? I'll make it personal. Tough guy.
I like Vindictive Billy. It's my favorite.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one thing like you critique or you have fun, or you joke around, or it's another thing to where it feels like you're taking time out of your day every day to like personally lessen what it is we do, to personally try to come after my livelihood, my career, what I've built, my business, our company, what you guys do, what we do for Aggies, to belittle that and come at personal way, then I'm going to come back tenfold on your ass. So with that said, I'm about to come back tenfold on Olin Buchanan. We haven't talked about this.
What happened?
That hat.
Wait. It's a
Did
look.
y'all bring it up? Was it?
Dude, yes, we brought it up, and that led to a conversation about if we get 200 likes on YouTube to get a mullet. And he didn't agree to it, but we got 316 likes, so he needs to get a mullet.
I tuned in this morning, and I was like, what? I thought he was making fun, like doing a bit, like picking on me. And I was like, this is funny. He's like going casual. But then I was like, wait, I don't ever wear my hat backwards, so it's not me. I was like, is it Brawny?
Nope.
But then I was like,
he likes to wear it like that.
And then I figured out it was not a bit, because I like went about my morning. I look up like 15 minutes later and it's still going. And I'm like, he's got to be getting ripped by you guys, right?
I wasn't on air with him.
I had fun with it. I think it's a good look. I think he should do it more often, especially when we have the AD in the studio.
Hey, I'm all for it.
What was the movie where the guy's like, "What's up, kids?" and he's like playing like he's in high school?
I think
again?
it might have been Saturday Night Live.
Was it
Steve
SNL?
Buscemi.
Yeah, it was Buscemi. Yeah.
Anyway, how are you, buddy? Let's
Olin
talk.
looks like he could fit in. He might
Olin
take
Buscemi.
your job talking to recruits. He could roll up to the high schools
he
like
could,
that with his
well,
skateboard.
At one point, at some time, we need to tell Billy needs to tell the story about one of the last recruiting trips he made before he gave that side of the business up.
Yeah.
He walked into a Houston high school and got heckled. It's pretty good.
Oh, is that right?
I was walking through the hall and I was like, man, look at Vanilla Ice.
What?
I didn't look like, I mean, it was just, that's one of the kids, and they were like walking by the high school kids. I was like, damn.
Well, you know,
getting hazed over here.
I wore a suit, obviously, the other day to the press conference, and as I'm it was to the firing. Whenever. One day last week.
You look like the feds.
No, and I walked by, and these kids came by, and they said, "Hello, Mr. President," and they kept by. I thought that was pretty funny.
Pretty
It
good.
was pretty good.
Okay.
What are you hearing? Like, I asked Bronny.
I don't. You just see. I told you.
I'm about to go.
Okay, go specific because I didn't hear y'all's segment yet.
What are you hearing about just the way Coach Elko's being received from the kids on campus and beyond?
Are you sure y'all didn't talk about this?
I did.
We talked about the recruits.
Okay. On campus, I talked to several of them that day. It's what you'd expect. I mean, they are beyond thrilled. Some of the really key veterans on this team, too, you know, some of the real leaders. I think there's going to be a chance to keep guys in school that people don't think. I think Elko really understands. He has a different – this is the thing that gets me the most. And I said this when he was under consideration. I said, like, you guys, like, he's got a real vision and plan for how this whole machine, and it is a giant machine that he has now taken over. You know, it's like the damn Death Star over here, and he's controlling it, and he has a strategic plan and vision for what it's going to look like and how he's going to set it up to where it operates day to day, to where they don't fall behind, and in fact the opposite, are ahead in any regard. So that means, you know, for whatever you want to put the title on it, a general manager, roster management and retention, the transfer portal, NIL, all of these things. And when it comes to NIL, like the NIL component of not only, you know, acquisition, let's say, you know, that's everybody's involved in that in college football, but I'm talking about NIL in terms of how to leverage that to keep guys from turning pro that shouldn't, that we've seen so much of here in the past. And he saw it when he was here as a D coordinator, you know, probably sitting there thinking this guy should come back, and then that guy leaves. And I mean, he's been victimized by it a few times, even here on defense, and how to prevent that and get these guys back. You know, think about guys like, we talk, Edger and Cooper had such a year. That's a really hard one. But like guys like, whether it's Edge or Nia Smith, but it really specifically like guys like Fadil Diggs and Shamar Turner, who just finished, you know, these guys that are eligible but aren't going to be first-round picks, you know, things like that. So to keep that part of the NIL, which I think is really significant, and to reward team leaders and captains and some of your best players without making that into just, hey, this is just a recruiting game. So I think vision across that world is really significant, and I think he's got it, and I think there's going to be so much structure and organization in this thing. It's going to be pretty special.
Yeah. Organization. Yeah. That's like the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from his first 24 hours, 48 hours, based off what I've heard, is the organization and the willingness to stick to a meticulous plan.
And that was big in the sales pitch too. He had a sale, like, you know, he's getting interviewed, right? But Mike Elko had a sales pitch. Mike Elko had a plan, and he had a plan specific for this place. If I got this job, this is what I would do. And I think for him, I think everyone they talked to, I'd be willing to bet $1 million that his was the most impressive. Number one, because of knowledge of this place specifically. And number two, just that's who he is. And you know that. That's who he is. There was probably, I would imagine, a ton of thought put into it, not just in the last couple of weeks, but over the last 2 years. Not just for A&M, but if I ever get the opportunity to make that massive jump to one of these college football powers, here's how I would do it. But then when it becomes A&M specific, then he really has an advantage.
Billy, we got Aaron Murray coming up in about 5 minutes. Yep. Just do you expect some coaching news soon, like about assistants and whatnot?
Yeah, but listen, this is how I'm going to do that. I am not going to try to get Twitter likes with these moves. If it happens that we can post it on the site and then go post it on Twitter and it, it makes the rounds and we get likes and that's great. That's fine. That is part of the game now. But I'm not going to wildly speculate for tweets. I'm also not going to lead the subscribers astray. And to be honest with you, in the first couple days, week or so, 2 weeks of a new coach, I'm not going to try to get in the way of them making hires. And you guys have to think about, I see names out there and stuff. Some of these guys, as they're winding down at other schools, have contracts, and there's, the schools will claim tampering and this and that. And if there's contact prior to a contract, a certain date, then Texas A&M's on the hook for a buyout, which might eliminate said coach from position coaches. Buyouts matter. So all of those things, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be very careful and particular on how we handle this and then hopefully get as much of it as we can. I'm hearing some things early on, though, that I really like in terms of the staff. And it's going to be interesting to see where Mike Elko swings in terms of his two coordinators. Because there's a status quo type of world on both sides, and then there's hey, we got that $11 million assistant pool. And it's a little misleading. Yeah. It's not everybody. It's not just for the assistant coaches. That's for the staff. So it's not. It's top 10. It might be top 5, but it's not like, oh my God, look at Texas A&M free spending again. Right. It's not that. But it's more than enough to go get some high dollar, high quality coordinators. If that's that's what I'm most interested in seeing.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, David.
Thank you, Bronny.
Thank you. Maybe next week I'll get my own segment back.
Wow.
It's all about him.
You're right.
When we come back,
this 30 minutes is all about me.
Bronny, let me tell you something. Every time you post and talk, it's all about you. Yeah. We know this.
Good. Thank you for allowing me this platform, Billy.
Hey,
and with that said,
Aaron Murray gets the platform next.
Thank you.
On TexAgs Radio. Welcome back in, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. We've got about a half hour left in the show. We're going to talk to Aaron Murray, and then Coach Pat Henry will join us for the last 10 minutes of the program. Appreciate all the text messages on the hotline at 979-693-1150. And still figuring out what's the deal with Aaron. Maybe he'll jump back on the Zoom. He was on the Zoom for a moment, and then we tried to call him. So not sure. I think he might be calling in right now. So we'll figure that out. I'll read one quick text message as we figure things out. 817 area code says, I'm really excited about Coach Elko. One bit of criticism. It's most of his response to the question with, yeah. Oh, come on. We don't need to worry about that. All right. It looks like we do have Aaron Murray on the hotline. Aaron, what's up, man? I don't hear you. Is your mute on by any chance?
Maybe.
There you are.
Probably.
Hey, buddy.
There we go. We're good?
How you doing, man?
Sorry, I finally got my monitor that I've been wanting. I got an early Christmas gift, so I was setting it up this morning. So this is the first time using it. So I apologize if little technical issues. I'm not the best with the tech side of things.
All good, man. I'm happy to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us. Just want to get your thoughts on the Coach Elko hire here at A&M.
Yeah, man, I love it. I think this is a situation where obviously we all know like A&M has everything. I'm sure you guys have talked about this a bunch. Like everyone across the country knows that the pieces are there. Like you don't need like a Dion that had to go to Colorado and bring all this hype and attention, which is why I kind of, I know that name was floated out there when the vacancy opened up. I was like, they don't need a Dion. They don't need a hype man. They just need someone that can come in there and instill discipline, know how to run a program. And, I'm more of an offensive guy myself, obviously. So like I was kind of hoping that maybe Lane Kiffin, someone that's beat A&M 3 times in a row and someone who has done more with less there at Ole Miss, two 10-win seasons in the past 3 years. But, kind of my second guy was Mike Elko. Been there, knows the people, knows the program intimately, kind of went off and obviously had success there at Duke. Doesn't need all the flash and glamour. I mean, I was listening to, some other A&M people about just his opening press conference and when he landed, like it was just kind of just jump in a pickup truck. I thought it was Billy who might have said this, jump in a pickup truck, go to the facility, sign my papers and let's get to work. So that's what you're getting. And I kind of like the match for A&M. So now it's just about for him retaining those players on the roster, building up to the portal here the next month and they'll continue to bring in top recruits.
Aaron, along the Lane Kiffin lines, you can't make fun of A&M's traditions and coaches and curse players out and think you're going to get a job here, although I know he would have jumped at it.
I know, but that's Lane Kiffin though. And that's the fun that he has, week in and week out. I mean, heck, he pokes fun at Nick Saban all the time in Alabama. And, I think if that job does come open, and I don't know if Lane is maybe waiting for that opportunity of when Nick Saban does retire, like I do think, he would be on the short list of guys that they would consider to go to Tuscaloosa to take over for Nick. And I think he's cocky enough to think that he could take that job from the greatest coach of all time when he does retire and step right in. So, I mean, yeah, like not every fan base is going to be ready for Lane Kiffin and his, off the field antics. But, when it comes to just coaching ball, like right now, A&M just wants to win. Like, and Lane is once again proven that he can win football games in the best conference with less talent. So I would hope that if he was the guy that A&M, kind of targeted and went after, that the fan base is kind of like, what, it was fun. It was kind of silly, but we got a coach that can win. That's all that matters to us.
Well, I think they got that guy with the way his organization, his plan, his future plans, I should say. So let's talk a little bit about it. Do you think next year, if they can keep this core and we're in a different world of college football, this is a team that can compete next year for a college football playoff spot?
Well, I think they can. I mean, you have a tremendous quarterback coming back. Obviously, get him healthy. We'll see what the receiving situation looks like. I'm sure there's some people talking behind the scenes about how to keep Evans there, or Evan Stewart there on campus. But yeah, there's plenty of talent. There's no doubt in my mind. And I know people are like, oh, well, the SEC is going to get significantly harder with Texas and Oklahoma. Excuse me. And, Georgia's not going anywhere and Alabama's not going anywhere and LSU's not going anywhere. I get that. Like, it's not going to be easy for anyone. Heck, my Georgia Bulldogs got to go to Tuscaloosa and to Austin, Texas next year. And, we'll see if Carson stays, if Carson goes. You're losing Brock Bowers. Like, for everyone to get to that 12 is well, why it may be obviously a bigger number than 4 doesn't mean that's just going to be a snap your fingers. We're going to get in there and be able to do it. But A&M has a top 4 roster in the SEC. Like, you put them up there with Alabama, you put them up there with, Texas and Georgia, and hell, they probably have a more talented quote unquote stars than LSU does. So, could they, with the right coach, find their way into the 12 team playoff next year? 100%, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like, I was high on them this year. I thought they would kind of push in the SEC West, be a 9-10 win team that would be on the outside looking in, but kind of then would be saying, hey, they won 10 games this season. That's good enough next year to get them into a 12-team playoff. So definitely an opportunity for them.
Aaron, does the Texas win over Bama in week 2 hold the same weight it did at that point, considering that Bama's a different team and Texas right now is behind Oregon in the race to move up a spot of the 1-loss teams?
I don't think so, because I think Texas has gotten better too. Like, it's not just Alabama who's gotten better. Like, I hate this conversation from fans. They're like, "Oh, we've gotten so much better." Well, duh, you should. Everyone gets better. Like, there are very few teams that go significantly backwards, unless obviously you have some injuries that kind of hinder you. But like, Texas has gotten better too. Like, that secondary for Texas has gotten better. The offense still looks great. I know Jonathan Brooks is out, but they got a healthy stable of running backs that have kind of picked it up since he's gone, out with that knee injury. So Texas has gotten better as well. So like, if you want to compare Alabama and A&M, both teams have gone better, but they beat your butt in your stadium by double digits. So I think it would be idiotic for the committee to if Alabama beats Georgia, to put them in over Texas next week. And does it happen? Does it not? Texas is ahead of them right now. We'll see. Obviously, it would be a better win for Alabama to beat Georgia compared to being the number 18 team in the country in Oklahoma State. But man, like, what's the use of playing games if once again you don't take into account what actually happened on the field, and that's Texas kind of taking it to them. So I think Texas is still the better football team. I think Texas is one of the better teams in the country. I think Texas is a team that I like in a matchup versus Michigan. I like them in a matchup not necessarily to win, but to make it competitive and possibly win versus Georgia. Obviously, they took care of business versus Alabama. It's a complete team. They can beat you on defense. They can beat you on offense.
Aaron, man, I know you had a very busy morning, so thanks for making some time for us, man. Let's do it soon, okay?
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Aaron. Take care. Aaron Murray there on the Brian Foley Law Hotline. Appreciate his time. When we come back, Coach Pat Henry, I believe in studio, might be on the phone, but I think in studio. We'll have that on TexAgs Radio. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Pat Henry was here a moment. Where's he going? I don't think he understands. I think he didn't think he was. Go get Coach Henry. He's come on. Yeah, I think he misunderstood. Let's go, Coach. He's still sitting down.
We're working on it. It's
all
okay.
right. By the way, this is brought to you by, I think he misunderstood what I said. I said we have a hard out coming up. And so this is brought to you by Brazos Running Company, your local Aggie-owned specialty running store. Save 10%. Oh, by the way, it's where you can find Brooks on Hoka, located at Century Square, below Star Cinema Grill in College Station. Okay, I think he's just have him come in. I don't think he understands what's going on. He sat back down. Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. All right. We're going to talk about this is live radio. We love it. We're going to talk a little bit about the new facility that's opening up, obviously. Coach, I think you misunderstood what I meant. I said we had a hard out at the end, but no, you're welcome. Come on. This is all about you.
I wasn't going to the bathroom.
Oh,
I was
good.
leaving because I thought you had another segment.
No, this is you and I talking now.
All right.
So let's talk about the new indoor facility. And
okay, good.
I see some cool stuff on the schedule coming up over the next couple
months.
Yeah,
this getting into a new facility, and we hope to be able to get in it on the 15th or 16th of December with our team.
Yep.
And then our first meet is the 13th, second weekend in January. So our meets are a little bit different this year. Mm-hmm. I'm only going to have 6 schools at each one of the meets. I've got to acclimate myself and our team to our new building. How do we warm up? How it's different. Mm-hmm. We had 2 buildings that sat over there. We had an indoor track. We had an indoor football building. All of our warm-ups were in the indoor football building. Mm-hmm. Then we would segment them into the other building for competition. Well, we got 1 building now. So it changes the dynamic of a track meet for me. So I gotta see where we are, and so, but our meets will be really good. It's just like this first one. We have Arkansas, Baylor, Florida, Oklahoma, TCU, and ourselves.
Wow,
good meet.
Heck yeah.
Second meet, Arizona State, Clemson, Houston, Tennessee, USC, and us. And third meet, we'll have Arizona State, Houston, Oklahoma, TCU, UCLA, and ourselves. So good schedule.
Heck yeah.
We have another meet. If you can see we have a Friday meet for other schools here in the state.
I see that.
Yeah.
So it's got to be exciting considering the last 2 years you've been homeless, it feels like, right?
Yeah, we have. We kind of stepped out of our track community here in our own community, and that's not good for us, but it's just the way things worked out. We've been out of a building. We've been outside, not having the opportunity to go anywhere indoors for the last 2 years, basically, both indoor and outdoor, because where we built the building now disrupted where our throwing events were.
Right.
So we couldn't have an outdoor meet last year either here. So for 2 years, we've been out of it. Now we get to start over again.
Well, tell me about the group that you have starting here in January.
Yeah, I'm pleased with our returning group. I think we've added some good people into the mix. We needed to add some people. We talked about this last year. We had to fill some holes, and I think we did. We brought in a couple junior college guys, and we brought in. We're going to bring in January. We got one international coming in January. So we've added to the mix, and it makes our group a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, what I'm looking forward to, though, is you guys being visible again out there, right?
No, that's right.
Like, people are going to drive by, they're going to see it. You're going to be out and about, and you're here.
Yeah, they're going to like the facility. Our last track, everybody sat on one side. Mm-hmm. This one, there's seating all the way around it. So you're really a little bit closer all the way around. I think it's going to create a great environment. It'll seat over 4,000 people, and I think people are going to enjoy the facility, maybe a little more than the last facility.
Yep.
But indoor track is fun when it's cold.
Yeah.
That's when it's fun. If you think about this, schools back east, there's lots of indoor tracks back east. In the South, there aren't too many indoor tracks. Ourself, Arkansas, Texas Tech, New Mexico, Florida just added one, a city facility. Kentucky's building one right now. There's more facilities coming up in the South all the time right now.
How does it? I mean, I assume in other sports it helps. I got to assume it helps recruiting-wise having this facility.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. There's no question about it. I mean, it allows you to never disrupt training.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be outside every day that we can. We don't want to be indoors if we can keep from it. And our bodies weren't made to run on that surface indoors. It's just we're running too fast to turn that fast. Our bodies just aren't made that way. We have ankle problems, and you have little hip problems if you're not careful on the amount of work you do indoors. So unless it's cold, we're going to be outside.
Right.
In fact, sometimes when it's cold, we're outside. It's just better for us. Now, our shot putters, our weight throwers, our high jumpers, our long jumpers, being able to never miss a training session is just makes your whole career even different.
We got about 30 seconds left. How are you guys doing on officials? Do you need any help?
Oh, always need people that want to be involved. Some of our best officials are people that didn't know about track at all. Mm-hmm. They really didn't know anything. We'll teach them.
You teach them.
Yeah, and we have other people that teach us. We've got 300 people in that association, but you have about 80 or 90 that are real regular.
Well, we're going to be starting our regular hits here come January.
Good.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, we're looking forward.
Every week, all the way down the whole season.
I do want to say something about our first meet.
Yes, sir.
It's the McFerrin 12 degree, we're calling it. Well, 12 is kind of synonymous with Texas A&M. But the banking on the track is 12 degrees. That's what the bank height is. Arkansas is 12 degrees. New Mexico is 12 degrees. That's what it has to be. It has to be 12 degrees. But they all look a little different.
Can you hold that thought?
Yeah.
We're going to do that on the rewind. I'll explain that in a minute. It's TexAgs Radio. We'll see you next time.